What is going on, Casually FC? Welcome to another Casually Chelsea show. Only a few more days before we got our Chelsea back and the content starts rolling and I start being on time. I am very sorry for that, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Marshalldbdx. I'm accompanied here by the panel of Oliver and Real Chris. And before we get into the show, which we have a few things to talk about, plenty to talk about, actually. You guys already know what to do. Smash up the like buttons if you haven't done so already. It does help out with the channel and the algorithm. We're trying to get the word out there that this channel exists, and we're trying to get our subscriber count up. We're on our way to 3,000. So if you want to help towards that, you can always subscribe as well. If you haven't done so already, we're on our way to 2.3. So help us get there, and then shortly we'll be on our way to 3K. Also, hit the bell notification if you haven't done so already, as it will notify you when we do go live. Be sure to also check out the links in the description below. You'll see the link tree, the link to the Discord, the Twitter page, all fun stuff there for you guys to check out, and plenty of other content as well. Be sure to also leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think about today's show and anything that we're going to be talking about on the Casually Chelsea show. And I do respond to some comments most of the time, so maybe you'll hear from me in the comments section. And if you haven't already done so, check out the memberships. There's 4 different tiers starting at 99p. You get some cool emojis to use as well as a part of the community. And pretty much that sums it up. So big up to you guys, big up to everyone who's already here. Sorry to keep you waiting, but let's just get right into it. Let's start off with the first story that we have here, which is Chris, this is going to be your favorite part, Chris. New kit. The new kit leaked.
That's my favorite.
Remember we talked about that kit color and all that stuff, and you're saying how you wanted it to be a certain way and all that. You weren't a fan. Well,
what?
We'll start off with you,
gold?
Chris. I want to know your opinion. Yeah, there's a 75% accuracy now. Remember those lemonade colors I showed you? Well, we have something. So this is
what
75% accuracy. What it's apparently supposed to look like.
That's not black and gold, you fucking liar.
I said lemonade. Why didn't say black and gold? I never said black and gold.
I said black and gold. You said, well, yeah, and then you said it's like 75% or something.
Oh, I thought you said black and something. Okay. I didn't hear the gold part.
It doesn't look half
you
bad,
know it wasn't black and gold.
I don't know. I like the pink on the Nike. It looks alright. I don't know. It's the yellow. I'm not a big fan of the yellow part. It's not like the yellow we're used to. Like the normal yellow.
Remember we talked about these colors?
It's like a vanilla ice cream yellow. Are you lagging like crazy, Marshall? Because Oliver, is it just me or is it?
He's froze. He froze. Oh no, you're back now.
I just want to have a conversation with you then.
Yeah.
I said, wait, okay, you are lagging. Well, I'm not really a big fan of the yellow, Marshall. Like it's like that vanilla ice cream yellow. Like it's not the yellow we normally would have. Come on, that is vanilla ice cream. You know, like
Well, I mean, who knows? Like you might be right, but it's 75% accuracy, so it could be more like a more saturated yellow. It could be. This could be a lighter.
I want it to be more. Yeah, I'd accept it if it was more neon, personally, just so it's like as bold as the pink.
What was going on.
I mean, what I'd want above all else is just to have a solid pink. I don't want that yellow nowhere near it. Just make it a full pink trim. That would actually look really good. Because I think that yellow is the only bad bit about the kit. I actually, I like black kits and I like neon pink, so it's definitely towards my preference if you ask me.
What's happened to the night?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Mostly because I'm not a fan of the camo.
I don't mind the camo. The camo's alright.
What? I don't like the camo.
I like camo shit, but like, what have they done to the Nike as well? The Nike's like fucking all vertical upwards. Like, what's
Sorry, I don't know why I keep going in and out laggy, but yeah, like I'm not the biggest fan of the camo. Yeah, no.
But then again, Marshall, it is a third kit, so you're barely going to see it.
Times are tough right now.
It's just, I hope the yellow's not accurate. I hope it's like actually a bright yellow. Like a yellow we normally have, like, that type of yellow. Not this type of vanilla fucking
You know what that, Chris, I'll tell you what that yellow looks like. That yellow looks like, like a tub of butter.
Yeah.
It looks like that.
Yeah.
You know what?
It looks like it looks like a tub. Yeah.
If you got some dirt on it, just get some butter and rub it over it.
Ew. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the yellow either, but I think the biggest part for me is the camo. I'd rather have if it was like a stripes or like bars across the chest. I think I prefer that, like a gray and black kind of bars, rather than this
a
6.
Yeah. The yellow gave it minus
Yeah, I can't disagree. I'd give it a 6 out of 10.
If I'm gonna give it a rating, I give it a 6. I wouldn't rush out to get that kit so far.
No, I don't disagree. Oops, sorry, wrong layout. I don't disagree. It's not the most impressive, but we'll see what the kit actually looks like at the end. I expect it to be similar. The colors are probably going to stay the same, but I'm hoping that camo is different. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to the next story that I have for you guys. Yeah, sorry for the latency, guys. Let's go on to the next story.
Scott.
Which is Hazard apparently was offered to Saudi and he turned it down. So let's see what this offer was. Right here, boom.
Nope, he's not going to be wearing that kit.
Eventually. No, not at all. All right, so apparently Eden Hazard was offered a £50 million contract to play.
God damn, Marshall.
Froze again.
Before opting to retire, claims former teammate John Obi Mikel. So,
Marshall, you need some new hamsters, man. Marshall, you need some new hamsters. I didn't hear it. Are we done?
Need some new hamsters. Yeah, I don't know why this is happening. Yeah.
No,
So Eden Hazard offered £50 million to contract to play Saudi Arabia before opting to retire, according to the John Obi podcast. So, yeah, guys, I'll let you guys discuss this real quick while I resituate my fuck's sake, man.
Right, he's resetting his internet, so
yeah, I'm gonna resituate. But yeah, just talk about Eden Hazard real quick while I do this.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to go first?
Well, I don't know. Didn't we see this like a few months ago? Like Saudi actually interested in like Eden Hazard. I don't know if he actually claimed that like he turned it down, but it does kind of make sense for me because like the guy barely plays like 2 to 4 games a season. He could have been like on a lot of money, but I don't think Eden Hazard's that type of guy who cares about money now. Like he's made his money over the years. Like he's on a lot of money at Chelsea, a lot of money even at Real Madrid. Like I think he obviously as well wants to spend time with his kids as well. I think he's definitely a family guy. Like I think as he said, he wants to be there with his kids as well when he retires. Like I think he said he wanted to retire like his mid-30s or something, but he retired a lot earlier. So yeah, like Saudi, you can't have Eden Hazard. You can't have that name. Unlucky. It's Ahmed. What the hell? Oh.
Yeah, I thought it was some random error when I was looking at the stream.
No, yeah, like Marshall was having he had to get a new hamster.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, man. Like my stream is really bugging out. But we'll see if it maintains itself. But I'm back. Eden Hazard. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Continue on if you guys are talking about it.
No, it's like what I was saying. Like Saudi just can't have every player they want, and I think Eden Hazard just wants to spend time with his family. Like he knows he can't play every game of the season. It's just like one of those things. Like I don't think he wants to put himself.
You think it was a family reason, Chris?
No, but like
he literally said, if you, I don't know if you have the tweet, Marshall, but John Obi Mikel said that was a reason why he didn't take it.
Oh, I didn't have that tweet.
To me,
that was one of the quotes.
He talked about it years ago. Like he wants to, like I think he said, like retire mid-30s, as I remember. But obviously he's retired like age 31 or something, sadly. But he knows he's very injury prone.
Alexa,
so what's the point? What's the point? Like, what's the point going to Saudi Arabia?
All right, so do you mind if I come in, please? First things first, the Saudi Arabian leagues are in a carver season, right? Much like how the MLS essentially like a very short amount happens in a short amount of time. It doesn't happen like basically similar to like the other leagues in Europe or even like the South American leagues where it's happening throughout the season. Then like there's like a short break in the summer period essentially, and I think secondly, the money that you're gonna get playing in the Saudi league compared to what you're getting at Real Madrid and Chelsea, I'll be honest, it's like it's like two peas from a different pod. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like one is just you're gonna be getting a lot more money for, and plus, like, you know what, you can play another season or two at the Saudi League. It's not gonna be play two more seasons. It's fine. You still have another half season, 6 months to play with your family and kids.
Do you think?
And the thing is, you already know with like Neymar and everything, and like Ronaldo, they are catering not just to you, they're catering to your family as well, so that you can spend enough time with them too.
I understand that, like, taking his family there, but do you think another reason I was actually thinking? Do you think he wants to take his family, move it to another country? Maybe they're settled. I'm guessing that's Spain, like, or something like that. Like, they don't want to move to Saudi Arabia. That could be another reason as well. Because let's face it, Eden Hazard's not been playing many games. He's not that like fit as a player. He gets injured way too often now. Like, his legs are done, his ankles are done.
But again, it's just, we're not talking about him. We're not talking about we're not talking about him playing in Europe. We're not even talking about him playing like the MLS or the South American League. He's playing in the Saudi. I don't really think it matters if you're not even playing that much. Like, he can not play that much, but as long as he's getting a good amount of money, he can he doesn't need to bring his kids, even if he doesn't want to. He can always fly to them if he wants to either. Like,
he could.
He doesn't. What if you don't want to do that though?
I don't think he wants to do Ahmed.
But again, that's up to him. But I'm just saying, from that perspective, I think it's a lot easier for me personally. And maybe if I was in his position, that's the one I would be taken. But I think the reason why he really retired is that I think he expected that he could get one more high-level big move. This is the school of thought that I have always maintained.
You think he thought that? You think he could have thought he could have got to another club?
Yes, he did. No, and I've always genuinely believed that. I know that he's obviously made comments that he believes that that he needs time with his family and stuff. But if you're being honest, the time that he's been at Real Madrid, he's had more than enough time with his family, because the majority of the time he's really been injured. If you're being honest, so
not wrong.
So for me, it's not really that. I think what happened was that he didn't get the dream offer or the dream team maybe that he thought he could go back to, whether it be us, for example, or like another mid to top table club team that maybe would have taken a punt at him. That's what really happened, in my opinion, when it comes down to him.
I just don't believe Eden Hazard be that deluded to think a big club would even spend a lot of money on him, unless you get him for cheap somehow. Eden Hazard knows he barely plays for Real Madrid, so what big club is?
But Chris, he was a free agent this summer, so it didn't even have to be a free agent.
I'm talking about wages. If he demanded high wages, for example, I don't know, unless he demanded 100k like Thiago Silva, then he wouldn't be much for any club really. I wouldn't mind him on 100k week just to be there, but then again, he doesn't need to be at Chelsea, does he? I don't know. I just don't believe any big club was actually go for that guy since he's injury prone. I just don't believe he wants to go to Saudi Arabia for probably reasons he doesn't want to take his family there. He doesn't want to be away from his family, and I don't think he cares about money that much anyway. He's made enough money for to support his family for life now. And he's got to get other probably sponsors in the future, maybe, because it's Eden Hazard. He's got to get other stuff coming in, probably money-wise, so he's set.
I don't
know if he's going to get other sponsors, though.
Money will come in. I guarantee it. It's Eden Hazard.
From where?
And like I said, sponsors are other shit, even other businesses.
I'll be honest, man. I'll be honest. He's retired now. Barring the Ballon d'Or thing, have you seen him anywhere else? I'll be honest. And a lot of the time, when it comes to a lot of
I'm just saying other business as well, we just don't know of. Footballers do invest in other stuff. Look at Willian and David Luiz. Yeah,
but again, that's just passive income. That's just for them. But the point I try to make is always that they usually don't. They're usually not in the lineup any longer. So anything that's from as you were saying, such as advertisements or those sort of things, those things, I think is quite rare. Usually, unless they're the top of the top, obviously, you got his former teammate, I think Drogba is in our club, he's a good example of someone that seems to have been able to, even if you go to the Ivory Coast, he's got a lot of advertisements that's still there, which he's able to do. Even for EAFC, he's a brand sponsor for them there. But if you look at someone like Lampard, post his career, even though he went into management, there wasn't really that many advertisements that you were seeing him in post his career, if you're being honest. So
not so much. But Lampard always has a job as a pundit or man.
No, but the point.
I wouldn't mind Hazard as a pundit either.
But the thing that I'm trying to make though, Post, he left I think his career ended 2016. If I'm not mistaken, Lampard, no? 2016, 2017 when he retired.
Something around that.
Yeah, but he didn't come into management until 2019. So he had 3 years where he was literally doing nothing. And the thing is,
he was a pundit.
You see, yes, but again, you've seen guys like Peter Crouch. Peter Crouch he's still in ads. You see him a lot more of the time. So he's had that advantage more so. Whereas Lampard, barring the punditry, not seeing him in that much else. Same if we could make the comment of Gary Neville and Carragher. You don't really see them, etc. But I'm using them two. I'm using them two in particular because those two were literally in punditry. Barring that, you don't really see them in any other ads. So the point I'm trying to make is that it's very worth for footballers to be in that sort of thing. If that makes sense.
No, I do hear that, but I don't know what's going to happen with Eden Hazard's rest of his career. I guess will he become a pundit? Will he even become a manager one day? I don't know with that. Or like you said,
will he become a manager?
Honestly, I don't think he would be, but you never know. You honestly never know. He might be Chelsea manager in 10 years' time.
All right, let's move on.
I would hate that.
Why would you hate
him being a manager?
Wait, what's up? He's a good manager. He's not English. It's all right, man. He's already passed the test.
Let's get there before we.
It doesn't matter if he's English or not. I'm just
No, he's not got the English piss.
He wasn't a good trainer. What makes me think he's gonna do well in training? We saw what happened when our team didn't train hard enough last season with Graham Potter. Like, you really think Eden Hazard is gonna be the type
people
to
make the team work hard?
If anything, Eden Hazard is gonna take fucking the team to his favorite halal cart by the bridge, man. Like, he ain't training the kids hard. Like, he's not gonna do that.
That ain't open, bro. That's not. You might be taking him to I think there's the kebab center. I think it's called. Yeah, that's on.
What's the one he got banned from under the Roman regime? He's gonna take him.
It's like a burger van, yeah.
Yeah, but that was it.
Let's be right. Like, don't get me wrong. Maybe as a coach, like a technical coach or something like that, but not as a manager. I don't think. Come on, Chris.
No. I'm saying you never know. It's like that's. I think.
You never know, but come on, it's also really unlikely.
It's very unrealistic. Yes,
I think you can tell with certain players. I think you can tell with certain players that they're going to move into management or they're not. Like, Hazard's not moving into management. Like, he hasn't got the. I don't think he's got the tactical side of understanding, like that. Like,
that's the other thing too.
Yeah.
I look at other guys that went into management that have been successful, as like both from like a player perspective and also as a manager perspective. And it's like the ones that are up and coming. You look at your Alonso's, you look at Thiago Motta, you look at like Pirlo to a lesser extent. They all have like a similar understanding in terms of like tactical understanding of football from a player aspect. And I just think Hazard doesn't have that because he's such a like. It's the same way or similar reasons why like Neymar's never going to go into management. Like, he's never going to go into management.
I think Ronaldo might. I don't know why. I just feel like he might.
Ronaldo, I could see.
But I was gonna say, you know what? That actually made me think about Eden Hazard. What he said to one of his teammates. I forgot which one. He said, "Do you know how basically play against West Ham?" He said, "Don't matter. Just give me the ball and I'll just go score past them. We're better." Hazard
in management would be the embodiment of go out there and express yourself. I feel like he would be that. Yeah,
manager. That's what he did.
Because that's what he was as a player. He was as a player, like he would express himself as a player. So as a manager, I could see him doing that to a T. So I mean, listen, I am upset that he retired early, obviously. Early for most players' careers, but yeah, like people in the comments are saying, let him have his money, let him enjoy his life. Whatever he ends up doing, I'm sure he'll figure it out just fine.
In Saudi Arabia, bro, I'll be real, he's enjoying his life. I just say that.
I know. I'm surprised, but at the same time, like, it could be what you said, that it wasn't the lucrative deal from a big club, and he didn't want to just go into the cliche of retiring in those I
honestly believe that, by the way. I truly believe that because
I could see that. I could see that being likely
if you look at the offers that he actually received, one of them was from the Belgium side, Anderlecht, if I'm not mistaken, or where he's from.
Yeah.
The other offers are MLS offers.
Yeah.
And I don't think he wanted to do that. So
I don't know, but then there's also the argument too, what if he pulled on Ibrahimovic, goes to MLS ends up playing well, picks up some form, and then he comes back to Europe and he does well in Europe as well. So it could have been something like that too. You never know, but like maybe he was just tired of the injuries too.
But it's just the injuries. He could easily pick up form if he doesn't get injured. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, and it could have been also he's just tired of the injuries.
Also, did you see how Ibrahimovic looked after his body?
Yeah,
it's night and day difference. That's why he could play till 40.
Yeah, damn, that guy played till he was. I mean, Olivier Giroud is on his way to reaching that, isn't he? How old is Olivier?
Yeah, he's Giroud? Like 37, 38, I think now.
I can see Olivier Giroud. Yeah, Thiago too. Two players I could see hitting those hitting that age bracket of players to stay in the game for that long. So we'll see. Hopefully those players do it at the highest level. But let's go on to the next story that I have for you guys, and it has to do with a ex-Chelsea player making some comments on a very popular podcast as of recent times, and that's Florian Malouda. So Malouda made some comments on the Obi-Wan podcast, and let's see what he had to say. Let me put this up.
I didn't know Macau actually had his own podcast. I just thought he went on podcasts.
Where have you been for the last?
Well, I know he talks on podcasts and stuff, but I didn't know he actually owns his own.
This is his own podcast. Yeah, the Obi-Wan podcast. He has a podcast. This is his 4th episode, I think now.
Yeah, he's talked a few times. Or 5th. I thought he just joined people.
No. He has his own podcast with who? Who's the other gentleman on that podcast with him? I can't remember. I just know John B. McKell's on it.
I just know he said a few things. I never actually watched it.
I'll look it up later. But anyways, Malouda said the following: the thing is, even during successful time, the renowned manager was kicked out. When you are kicked out. So talking about a project in Chelsea, there's no time to build a project. You must win now. When you are winning, you are kicked out. Is that what he meant to say? So talking about a project in Chelsea, there's no time to build a project. You must win now. That's a weird little bit of a translation loss there. Let's go to the next one. Do you recognize Chelsea now? Florian Malouda, except for the color of the shirt, no, not really. I think the club is using too many keywords about the project or whatever. It does take time to build anything of value, but since the new ownership, I don't see any stability from the management. So a little bit of polarizing words from Malouda. I mean, I understand where he's coming from, and I feel the Chelsea sentiment of not lowering your standards. You know, when you come to Chelsea, you do have to win. You do have to get results, or you lose your job. I just think, and maybe you guys agree, I think we are at a point in Chelsea now that we have done that for so long. We made that trendy, and it's come to a point where, like, for example, if United were to sack Ten Hag right now, I don't expect United to turn it around or get out of the situation they're in. I would expect them to get the manager bounce and be in the same exact situation they're in now. But there's also different circumstances. But I feel like if we were to sack Poch right now, because he ends up, let's say he doesn't get any more results after this run of games, it goes, south. I don't expect anything to change. We're just going to get the same thing from the next manager, so on and so forth. There won't be stability. But that's my 2 cents. What do you guys think?
I want to say something quite quickly. I want to say, I think the comment by Ike, the last comment where he says, in the eyes of people, stability means winning trophies for Chelsea. And I think his comment, I think, kind of rings louder a lot of the time when he's speaking to a lot of these former legends, because for them, stability may have been winning the FA Cup, winning the Premier League, maybe winning a Carabao Cup in that season, right? And obviously, I think this is you won the UCL back in 2021. Is it 2021? So it's almost been now 2 years essentially and a half and counting, right? And we haven't won a trophy yet. And for them, that is a stability, if you know what I mean, right? And I think for me, that is part of the school of what a lot of these guys are coming from. And I think if you're also being honest, a lot of these players that we have, they come from a time where, the owners probably had a lot more power than, a lot of these sporting directors and there wasn't that many sporting directors that existed. start controlling the football side of the sport of the ball. It was more so the owners that are doing everything, essentially, if that makes sense. Particularly at Chelsea, right? Because the only other guy that we had, his name escapes me, beginning with E, that almost went to Newcastle.
Milano.
Emanalo, right? He was more so doing the recruitment based sort of thing, right? After that, he wasn't really controlling the players, essentially, if that makes sense. It was more so the manager who had that power, and then if the manager wasn't doing so well, Roma would swoop in, wouldn't really talk about the players because he's the ones that brought them for a large amount of money, and then bang. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't think I think that's what this comes down to for me personally.
But didn't we also have that with Roman when he first took over? He hired the recruiter for United.
Yeah, but
am I wrong in saying this, guys?
But that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, we got the recruitment guy in, but the managing of the players, the managing of winning trophies, and all of the stuff that I'm talking about, that we don't have now, is was done by the manager. Like the sporting director job at Chelsea at many clubs before that existed, that actual job existed, was that was half of it was done by the manager, and then you had a recruitment guy that was just recruiting stuff for you. After that, that was pretty much how it worked, and then they would work in tandem with that.
Does anyone know why we, after Emanalo, we just didn't have a sporting director anymore?
It was Marina's job.
Marina's job.
Yeah.
So Marina became the sporting director?
Oh, Scott. Fucking Scott, mate. Oh, sorry, not you, Scott.
No, I know. I don't know his second name. Sorry.
I think it's Scott McLagan, no? Something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that. The fucking waste of space that was our head scout.
Oh, head scout.
And he scouted Romelu Lukaku, right?
No.
His record is abysmal. It's fucking atrocious.
Marshall, he was the one that told us to get Saul over Tchouaméni.
Oh no! They should have listened to Petr Cech. Petr Cech was looking at him for 2 years apparently as well.
Well, I know, like, it makes sense for Petr Cech to find Mendy for us. That one made perfect sense because he's a goalkeeper. And obviously, a goalkeeper can probably, know what to look for in other goalkeepers. But when it came to the other player departments, I mean, what were you saying, Scott?
Played for his old club as well.
Yeah. Oh, true. Yeah, Ren, yeah. So, I mean, what did you guys think about Malouda's comments? Just to bring it back to what we were saying originally.
Yeah, again, I just think it just comes from a place of, sadly, he's in his 40s. I don't think he knows the background of football. That's all it is, man. If you listen to him, if you listen to Oud Mikel, if you listen to Gallas, if you listen to Petit, all of these guys that are former Chelsea fans, it comes from a place of them not understanding how football has really changed. That's what it comes down to.
But they are right, because you look at last season, we was a complete mess. Like, I didn't recognise Chelsea last season at all.
These comments,
I think we will start recognising Chelsea because I can see we are improving as a team.
But I think this is where I would say you're wrong, Chris, because they're not talking just about last season. This comment came if I'm not mistaken, last Saturday. This is only recorded last week. So, it's not just last season that exists anymore. There's this season as well that's also existed. So,
but this ain't the same Chelsea like they've all grown up and like seen, because Chelsea is so
No, but that is the point though. But that is the point. They should know that, and then they should know that though. Because I think the club has been quite clear on the direction we've been going in for quite a while. But all I hear them talk about is that the club isn't stable, or there's keywords about project or whatever, and then when you hear them what do they want to do, it essentially goes back to the extremely old school way of thinking. And then whereas you look at the more modern models, whether it be Man City, whether it be even, I would say to an extent, what has happened at AC Milan and Inter, with the way they've been able to do it. Even Napoli, I think, is a good example of how they've been able to, even if they lose the players that they may need, they're able to rebuy those players to go back to a high level. And a bunch of other clubs have done this as well. That is the new model. It's just that I think, again, and I said this for a lot of the players that look at Chelsea right now, it comes from, I would say, a place of ignorance. I just think that's what I think it comes down to for me. It just comes down to ignorance.
I mean, it comes from a place as well of like just being a little bit out of touch.
Exactly.
Where like, because the thing that like confuses me about the comments is more like how I don't see how you can say there's been no stability with the new owners, considering they've been here for like a year. Like, what stability have they been able to have? The only stability they've had has been the like the backroom team in terms of the like sporting directors and whatnot. And apart from Vivell, the team upstairs has been stable. And the manager, which they tried to stick with last season for longer than they probably should have done. And then, so like they tried to be stable. It's like, I find there are many things you can criticize the ownership about, but I find the talk about stability to be an odd one because they've been here a year. Like, how much stability can you have in a year? And has also been pointed out in the chat, we were terrible at, like, before Roman, like before they got here when Rome was here, the end of Roman's era. Like, you can talk about the fact we won the Champions League, cool. That team overachieved. That team is not a Champions League winning team. Look at what some of those players have gone on to do since winning that Champions League, and you can tell that team massively overachieved. You look at basically everything since we last. You look at everything since we last won the league. By the way, even that league-winning team, by the way, that 2017 team, some of that team is dog shit. And again, it was masked by a good manager at the time and a system that helped. But since then, where's the stability? We went from Conte to Sarri. That's the complete 180 of what you're trying to do. You then went from Sarri to Lampard. I understand it because of the situation. You then went from Lampard to Tuchel, and then and then that was it. Like, there's no stability there in terms of the profile of manager, the player profile we brought in. Our league position was a fucking mess. Like, the only outside of the what's it called? Outside of the Champions League, we won a Europa League where we were the best team in the competition, and we won an FA Cup when Conte should have been sacked months before. So, like, I just find the talk about stability to be wild, like just wildly, right now, to be just a complete wild conversation to have. That's a conversation we need to be having in a couple of years.
Exactly.
Like, assess the team from top to bottom. I'm talking the people at the top level in terms of the sporting directors, the playing staff, and the manager. Assess that in 2 years. If in 2 years we've got like another 12 new players, you know, half the players we signed, again, like the what's it called? If we've like got rid of like everyone that like similar to the last summer window, we've got rid of nearly every player that we've signed. That's bad. Like, if we have another window like that, we'll get rid of everyone we signed in one window. If, you know, Win Stanley's gone or Stewart's gone and we've just replaced them with a sideways move, then we can talk about like the stability, and there is none. We're talking about stability after 1 year. Like, that's a wild conversation to have.
Do you know what I want to add before you go, Marshall? So I want to add 2 points actually. Cruz made the point that, you know, I think we can't also abandon winning, and that, you know, these guys, the legends, need to be talking about the standard of winning, and that point I hear you on that point. But the thing is, that is already inbuilt DNA. I'm more than sure enough here that the club want to win something. I don't think the winning DNA standard is wrong. But it's wrong. But the point I'm trying to make, though, is that, you know, winning, of course, is going to be part of the Chelsea DNA. I don't even think that the legends need to even go on about it. When you've got guys in the background that are going to talk about it 110% of the time, you've got the fan base that are always on to winning. Like, I think the last season, for example, and even to an extent, I would argue even this season, I think there is a willingness to drop it for one or two seasons. But the next season, for example, there is no excuses, I would argue. You know, if we continue to go to where we are, we must be winning something. That's what it is. Like, I don't think that is much of an issue. And I think another point I want to make is that Texas Blue made the point that that Scott was kind of like brushing off the UCL win and the consistent top 4 finishes. But if we're being honest, Texas, and this is a point that I always make,
without Tuchel, we don't win that Champions. Hang on. Without Tuchel, we don't win that Champions League. By the way, that's down to the manager, and that's the point. The manager we had caused us to win that, which is calm. But let's not act like that team was stable. That team, prior to Tuchel come in, and we were talking about getting battered by Atletico Madrid.
True. That's very true.
We were ninth in the Premier League.
Go and look at that team, by the way. Go and look at that team from top to bottom and tell me what they did prior to coming to Chelsea and what they've done since. Most of them have gone on to do fuck all with their careers.
The only one's Reece James, but but even then he's had injuries.
Well, like, I think the problem, the thing, and this is the point I'm going to make before I go into this point for Texas Blue. But I think the point I want to make here is that you look at the 4th place finishes we were having. We were consistently getting worse in 4th place. You know what I'm saying? The only difference was the league that we were in wasn't as competitive as it was now. The mid-table clubs weren't as strong. You know, the other top teams, barring Liverpool, were all basically in worse places alongside us, maybe essentially, or they were about the same level as us at the time. The difference is now, you look at now the teams, you got obviously Man City, Liverpool, now Arsenal have had some level of a resurgence. Tottenham now are looking like they're having a resurgence as well. So, but where we were was not going to help us. And then you look at the players that we had even at the time. You look at them now, and you look at where they were before, and look at them now, barring what Rudy got, I would argue, where have the rest of them gone? They've literally gotten worse.
I can count that squad that we had. I can count on one hand the amount of players that have gone on to go on to better things or as good things. I can count on one hand.
And then, I think the other point,
Christensen, Rudiger.
The other point, where was it? This point that Texas is making, the league was different then. The only real competition that was in the league, back in 2003, 2000 was really United, because they were the top guys. Then we had Arsenal, but the Arsenal side at the time was also aging. And plus, at the time, you could spend all the money you wanted.
Also, no one's saying that Roman wasn't good for his whole majority of his career. After we won the league, every year since we last won the league, you cannot tell me that we were stable, or be in any way stable as a team, or whether that be the only place we were stable. Was in the top, because we knew it was going to be Marina. Apart from that, we were not stable. How much did the playing staff change? How much did the manager change and chop and change all the time? Also, you're right. Roman hired that. By the way, Roman hired that manager. He also hired Andre Villas-Boas, Roberto Di Matteo, Avram Grant, Luis Felipe Scolari, Maurizio Sarri, who most people hated, Lampard. There's 6 managers.
Benitez, man. Benitez.
Yeah, Benitez.
But I would say this, not only are we talking about stability, but there's also another key word to add in there, which is consistency. We weren't consistently winning trophies anymore. We weren't consistently even dominating the top 4. And even if you want to say that, okay, there was stability because we were getting top 4 every season, what clubs does that sound like to you? That sounds like Arsenal.
Yeah,
right. And we how many times were fans bantering Arsenal for celebrating getting top 4 and treating it like a trophy? So there's that. And not only that, but you look at Man United's situation right now, where, okay, they're 6th in the table, I believe. They've been, as of the last 5 games, they're the best team on form, I guess you can call it that, quote unquote. It's very loosely say the word form there. Their style of play, you ask, Flawless, you ask the United fans, Saeed and all of them, they're not happy with the way the team's performing right now. They're not happy with the way the team's shaping up. They know that they're getting lucky with the results. They're not in a good place, despite where they are in the table. That's kind of where Chelsea was 2 seasons ago. 3 seasons ago. Let's not forget, 2 seasons ago, the season we won the Champions League, we only got top 4 because Gareth Bale bailed us out. No pun intended on that one. And then the season prior, we had a 10-point lead in 4th place that we almost lost towards the tail end of the season. So let's not pretend that it was stable and the whole happy-ho-lucky dominant top 4. We barely scraped top 4 the last 2 seasons of Roman's regime. So again, this is like the revisionist history that a lot of Chelsea fans seems to have, and we forget what the seasons were like. We look at the table and the results, but we don't look at the context. There is a lot of context that goes with it. Now, the other thing I was going to ask you guys in reference to Malouda was, do you guys feel that with Malouda and some of these other ex-Chelsea players that talk about the standards and how the winning mentality and all this, do you feel like a lot of these ex-players, because what Scott iterated, they seem out of touch, they almost just have almost a fan service feel to them, that they're kind of just using buzzwords and placating to the fans and telling them what they want to hear? Because it seems to me, and I don't want to give him more credit than is due, I kind of want to give credit to Lampard, because it seems like of the ex-Chelsea players, Lampard seems to be one of the few that kind of had an idea of what the club wanted to do going forward, but
you know what,
was really bad at executing it.
Marshall, do you know why Lampard has a better view on things?
Sure.
It's because he worked under Roman as a manager.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to deal with the difficulties that the ex-players and that legends like, John Terry and Mikel, they don't understand that because they were just on the player side. They just, they downed their tools when they won the manager out and they won trophies. That was all they had to their game. Whereas Lampard actually had to manage and he had to get signings dumped on his head that he didn't want. So he understands the difficulties a lot more than these ex-players. For me.
Real quick, Ahmed, before you go, Ahmed, just to address this comment. I'm not trying to pretend like we were in the worst position, but you guys or people like you, Texas, that think like you are trying to pretend like everything was peachy, happy-go-lucky. We were in euphoria and in heaven, and we were in perfectly good place under Roman. So you can't have it both ways. Like I'm trying to meet you in the middle here. Like, yes, things were good under Roman while it lasted, but we could all see it was slowly declining and it wasn't stable. So like there's it's not black and white. There's a lot of gray, and I'm trying to talk about that gray area specifically. Go ahead, Ahmed.
I wanted to make the point because I think you made a good point, Oliver, which is that a lot of these players, I do think they revere Roman, and I mean that in a good sense, yeah, in the sense of like they were getting paid well, they were winning trophies, and I think a lot of the time it was a good period in their life. I would always say that, right? And like now, obviously, the club's got new ownership. The whole thing is the whole thing has changed, and I think no one is saying that that they're not entitled to say what they want, their opinion. But at the same time, when people give their opinions, we are also allowed to criticize those opinions at the same time too. Mm-hmm. And that's all I would say to that, to David's comment. But the issue is, it is an out of touch comment because the last, when it comes down to it, oh, I can hear myself quickly. But if you look at the previous era of football, it's completely different to the current era of football. I don't know what people are lying to themselves. The way we could act, the way we could do stuff, in the previous era, it's not the same anymore, guys. You know what I mean? And that's and the thing is, we at the time towards the end of Roman's reign, we were failing to adapt to that. That's all it is, guys. Like, I think it's fair to say that we were literally in mediocrity. We're in top level mediocrity. What that means is we were finishing in the European spots that we wanted to. Yes, we were in the average FA Cup, the average Carabao Cup, but we were being mediocre, essentially, in full place. That's what it is.
Just go and look at our signings since 2016. Or 2015, sorry. It's abysmal.
Damn it, every window we had since Jose's second stint, first window. I think every damn near every window we had was shit. Like nearly every window we had.
You mean since the Costa and Fabregas window, right?
Yeah, since that window, damn near every window we had was absolutely fucking garbage. Like at least half of the shit.
But what do you mean? Like Madrid and Bayern remain the same? But do you know Madrid and Bayern's have a stable,
completely different leagues?
No. This is stupid because they actually have a stable structure. It's a known structure. If you actually watch a lot of these Bayern Munich documentaries, same with Real Madrid. Like Real Madrid, who's been their president for so long? The guy, he has his main scout, whose name I always forget, and they have the same recruitment team. So we've known that for so long. Like
Real Madrid and Bayern would never go from Conte to Sarri. To put it like that, they would pick a similar manager to Conte. They'd keep it consistent with the style.
But the thing is, they tried stuff like that. Like they legit tried stuff like that with Kovac, with Solari to a lesser extent, or they tried that sort of shit where they tried to go for the cute manager. It fucked up, and Bayern, for example, they went for Kovac because he beat him in the Pokal final, I think, the German Cup final. Went for Kovac. That fucked. What did they do? Went and signed the assistant manager for Germany, who won them a sextuple.
And just to bring it to Real Madrid as well, similar to what you guys are saying, bringing the similar style of manager, they're trying. Latest news is they're trying to sign. They've picked 3 managers that they're trying to sign. They're trying to either extend Ancelotti's contract, which we thought he was gone at the end of the season.
He's gone to Brazil
because
that's Brazil.
Really? Okay, because there's rumors going around that they're thinking about re-signing him. I don't know if that's solidified or not, but I can look into it. But there's that. De Zerbi's in talks with a move to Real Madrid and Xabi Alonso. So they're trying to gravitate towards a similar profile of manager.
But that's because Marshall, I think what Ahmed said earlier as well, and this is why the Malouda comments are slightly out of touch, and it's not because he's out of touch, it's just because of the like time of when he played football. Is like for example, Jason mentioned it with like Bayern where they went from Ancelotti and Pep. That's fair. You can't do that anymore. There's not those managers in world football right now. Like outside of Pep, outside of like who would you say is the best three managers in the world right now? It's Pep, then
probably have to say Klopp.
Ancelotti.
Klopp, and Ancelotti. Well, Ancelotti's basically on the verge of retirement, is going to manage him Brazil. Klopp's 1 season away from having a sabbatical again, and Pep's managing the best team in the world. Cool. So what's the answer after that? Like we've just said, Real Madrid might be going for one of Xabi Alonso, who's in his second year of management in men's football, like first team. Tuchel was fair enough. You could say Tuchel also has just gone to Bayern, and was not going well. It's going better now. It was not going well. And De Zerbi, who again is an up and coming manager. I think that's the thing with the managers is now you kind of have to go towards that kind of cute up and coming manager rather than getting the proven commodity, because there's just fewer of them now. Like most of the other proven commodities are like Jose past it, Conte past it, Mancini past it. Like you've got like Nagelsmann, fair, Enrique, who I'm yet to be convinced by.
Nagelsmann, I'm not convinced by anymore either.
That's fair.
Continue.
But anyway, I digress. And I think it's just a bit different in terms of the like this, like it's a new generation of manager, and eventually,
I agree.
You hope, like in a couple of years, like give it 2-3 years, and it will have a similar thing where it's like you'll have your like era of managers or like proper managers like De Zerbi, Alonso, probably, maybe Nagelsmann's in that conversation. There's like 5, 6 of them maybe who are in that. Like I'm not saying they're going to get as good as these guys, but are in the same category where you had like Pep, Ancelotti, Jose in his peak, that kind of thing, right? We're just not. We're in the middle bit. We're in kind of the dead bit at the moment. But also, Vic made a comment as well about like the culture never changing. That's fair. They also didn't go through ownership changes.
True, that is true.
And again, we're what, a year and a half? Like we're just about a year and a half into it.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the fan base, understandably so. I get it. When you're used to one culture for so long and one type of Chelsea for over a decade, yes, it's hard to break out of that and break out of being impatient for results. I get it. I mean, I am a Chelsea fan as well. So, like, I understand that, like, I want to start winning immediately. I want to start getting results immediately. But I also understand with a different ownership comes different challenges, different changes, different change in culture. Obviously, it seems like from what the owner said in the very beginning, prior to even getting Chelsea, that they get what the mentality of Chelsea is. They get what Chelsea represents. They get what Chelsea are in the global, in the global position. You know, they understand that this club is a club that is meant to win, and only win. So, I mean, in the long haul, we'll see if they really truly understand that. But we have to be patient, and that's not something that Chelsea fans are very used to, or have been given this whole time. Like, we've always gotten results, and as of now, since results have been stagnating, and I think it also is a little bit of a snowball from the tail end of Roman's last 2 seasons, that that patient is running thin. Yeah, there's going to be changes, and with new ownership comes different perspectives and dynamics. So that being said, I think, wow, we had a pretty good discussion on that one.
I just want to say one final thing on the point as well before we move on, in the fact that like the proof's going to be in the pudding with these guys. I said earlier, like if there's, as I said, you can criticize them for quite a few things, but like if there's certain things that happen in the next year or two where it's like, January comes around, say we're not even January, fuck January, let's go to this summer, like we're all looking at this new striker. we miss out on Osimhen, we miss out on Tony, we go for like a Sesko. Okay, then you're looking at like the league finishes are still shit. The manager's still got question marks. The sporting directors, at least one of them, are unconvincing to say the least. And like there's still those sorts of things. Then yeah, I think then we can have question marks, because I think it's I say this all the time, but like football in general is all about balance, and it's like we as fans have to find the balance in knowing that for as good as what happened under Roman was, and it was incredible, there were certain elements that were really bad, particularly on the transfer side of things, the playing personnel that we brought in, and at times the managers. And hopefully that the winning side of it can be married with the new ownerships, hopefully better recruitment, especially player side, potentially better managers where you're not getting rid of them every 2 months or something like that. And like that's what the hope is. And my hope is that they've shown, for the most part, some of their side is working in terms of, I think we can agree that most of their recruitments have been good. Now they've got to show us they can put that to the scale that we expect in terms of this is fine for the most part for now, but I'm not having this conversation even a year from now, even 2 years from now. I'm not having the same conversation of like we're in 10th or like middling ground, like stuck in mid-table, and we're debating this same shit in 2 years. Then it's like, then at that point it's like these guys can put in as much money as they want. The bar is only set so high.
And you know, you would also hope that they bring in new ideas, because I think towards the end, I think the ideas for Chelsea, the inspiration and the motivation to expand and grow, it seemed to be dithering away, I would say. It seemed like we were just keeping the lights on. At least that's what it felt like towards the end. Like the fact that we didn't really have, we left Marina to do sporting directing. I think that was kind of just, again, Roman couldn't come to the country, so that could be a big part of it. But I think that's a sign of like, okay, this is kind of just in the back burner. As long as it's working and winning me trophies from time to time, just throw money into it. Don't put new ideas or new positions. At least with the new ownership, there are new ideas being implemented, and some good, some bad. But in the long haul, we'll see. The proof is in the pudding, just like Scott said. Let's go on to the next topic, which Ahmed, we got more updates for you, man. So let's see what's going on with the stadium updates. So last we checked on this, it seemed like no progress was being made whatsoever. So now we have a little bit of clarity on the situation, and let's see what's going on with this. So according to The Athletic, Todd Boehly and Clear Lake would like Chelsea to be playing in a shiny new stadium, whether it be Stamford Bridge or elsewhere, by 2030. So by 2030, in 7 years' time, we should have a new stadium, according to this report. That's the expectation, at least. Chelsea will examine all the viable temporary stadium options in the event of a Stamford Bridge rebuild, but Boehly and Clear Lake do not consider nearby Craven Cottage to be one of them. Fulham's home is regarded as simply too small and relatively lacking in corporate amenities to fulfill the brief, which I 100% agree. This is also coming from The Athletic. Then, last part of The Athletic, Roman Abramovich's non-negotiable requirement for any Stamford Bridge rebuild was 60,000 seats. Todd Boehly and Clear Lake are of the same mind, but have no aspirations to emulate him by building a Westminster Abbey-style cathedral of football.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know what they mean by that. I also like that statement look, by the way.
That stadium looks cool, but I don't know
it
if
does
this
have
is
a nice
realistic.
look to it.
It means that it's going to look like,
It looks like a cheese grater.
Nah, it's going to look
Like
bad.
one of those egg cutters, you know what I'm
No,
saying?
that's what I'm not even talking about the one that you see in the picture. A cathedral style would probably mean that you go in, but it's like you'll probably have a few steps that you have to actually go into it, like under.
Oh, almost like the Porto, the Portuguese stadium we won the Champions League in.
I can't remember that one. I can't remember that one. Santiago.
I wasn't there.
Yeah, I wasn't there myself either. But like, it'll be like essentially. But usually, like when you enter a cathedral, it's usually like straight from the bunch of the ones that I've been into. So like, this one probably is going to be you have a few steps to go down, and then it's going to be like this essentially. If that makes sense. But
yeah, I think I know what you mean. Yeah,
I legit don't understand. Like, I don't understand like what the.
I'll have to draw it out.
I fully don't understand what they're.
If I if I understand, it's like I think when they say Westminster Abbey stuff. You know what? Let me just look up a picture. Maybe that'll explain it better. Westminster Abbey, but yeah.
No, but like,
I was gonna
it's
say
it's the phrasing, like
It's basically going to be a square. It's going to be a square essentially. That's what it's going to look like inside. Because like, if you've been to like a church or anything like that, when you go inside, it's quite
church, not for bar, no.
But no, but Ahmed, I get that. But what, like, don't most stadiums look like that? Like, that's I'm struggling to, like, the way it's written and the words they've used just make it sound really weird. Like, aren't most stadiums built?
You know, like how
the way you're describing.
It's going to be like quite a tight space. I think that's what they tried to mean one day. Because like if you go to a lot of those chapels at Abbeys, they're quite like tight space where everything's there. You only have the ability to walk to certain places at a certain amount of time, stuff like that. I believe, but that's pretty much what I can say. I have no idea how to explain it, like unless I kind of like draw it and then just explain it otherwise.
Yeah, Scott's right. I don't really know how to. Right now? It's a weird description.
1 second, let me show you.
Because the reason I say this is like there have been stadiums that have been spoken about like cathedrals of football, but that's because they're like they're the pinnacle in terms of stadium build and design. So like I think of like the Nou Camp, I think of like the Bernabeu, I think of like those types of stadiums. Like just the wording is so weird to me. It's like the way I'm taking it is I do not want like a stadium that's like the pinnacle of world football that's spoken about in the same verbiage as like the Nou Camp, the Bernabeu, what was it called? What was the Atletico Madrid one before they moved?
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
I can't remember what it's called. That
essentially
one.
Like this.
Oh yes, we're in a church.
Essentially, what they're meant to be said, I think, is going to be quite tightly spaced because like that chapel in particular, Westminster Abbey, is very tightly spaced. Like barring that little hall area where you can walk around, which essentially I would assume would be what their version of the pitch would be. It's really, you can see it's kind of like really tightly spaced, really tightly packed together. Essentially, that's probably what it means.
That looked really cool, I think, actually. Like coming.
But it won't look like a cathedral, guys. Again, it won't look like a cathedral. Yeah. But it just
no, obviously, bro. Like it's a football stadium. That's the wording.
Fair enough.
Like of all the ways you could have described it, just like.
Yeah, I hear you.
I was gonna say, since we're not going to Fulham, right? I wouldn't want for Chelsea.
Based on
that. Do we go take Wembley? Because that wouldn't be like too bad since we'd be in a big stadium. Why would it be shit? Because the travel.
I've been to Wembley for like a couple games, and the atmosphere's dog shit. Like it's not like Wembley's good for select occasions when it makes sense, like when it's like a cup final, when it's like a big occasion.
Yeah,
bro, I went there under Sarri when Tottenham were playing there. It's dead. It's so shit. It's so dead.
I do. Yeah,
it's good for one-off games.
Yeah.
I've been to a few Championship and League One playoff finals. That's like peak atmosphere.
Yeah, that I imagine. And like I haven't been to any, but like, I went to I didn't go, but the final where we played under Sarri, it was the Carabao Cup we played, or was the FA Cup?
Yeah, Man City.
I didn't go to the game, but I was like, so I was at uni in Wembley at the time, and I was like next to the stadium watching the game. Like that was like a big thing. Yeah, when we went to like the league game against Tottenham, so a rivalry, and the cup game against Tottenham that season, and the atmosphere in both games is dead. For a London derby, it was dead.
Yeah.
Then what stadium do we take then? Oh, sorry.
Oh no, we probably will take Wembley. I'm not saying that's like the worst idea in terms of like.
What do you have, Craven Cottage or Wembley though, Scott?
Wembley 100% because it's bigger and whatnot. I'm saying there are going to be cons to it. The atmosphere will be shit.
Yeah, I know. I agree. No,
I was going to ask you guys, since I'm not a local, what are these buildings right here? Like this one right here and this one down here.
Let me see.
I don't know where that is.
Bottom section, this bottom square.
I think that's like Stamford Gate, Scott.
No,
and then this top one here.
Okay, so you know that. So basically, see the one that's just like right at the end of the building. You know,
right here.
You know where Chelsea is. You know where Chelsea is. You know where it says Chelsea on the stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Right here is where is the land that we actually brought, by the way. So that's the land that we brought.
This right here.
Place, yeah. Over there is a bunch of houses. That's a housing estate.
So this right here.
Yeah.
All this is housing.
This is housing.
I mean, I don't know how long it'll take, but if it, like, I'm looking at this right now, and if we were to flatten this whole entire area,
That,
that's
by the way,
definitely
is
enough
the
room.
It's going to cost so
That
much
over
money to buy
That,
those.
by the way, that, by the
I was
way,
going to say, like,
one at the
this
end of the
is
picture.
where, like,
You know
bro,
the one at the end of the
this is-
picture is a hotel. That's the hotel, the
This-
1905 hotel. No, over there. No, at the end.
Oh, right here.
Yes, that's the 1905
This
hotel.
could stay, but I could imagine, like, listen, I know it's going to take money, but our owners have money, and this project is going to take
That's our
money
hotel.
as it is.
That's the club's hotel, by the way. That's not
Oh
the
yeah,
actual,
yeah.
That's the club's
Okay.
hotel.
Yeah.
So, like, if we could just manage to buy this strip here, that would be enough room to expand the stadium and just be a much
It's owned by-
60 capacity easily.
We just
but
rotate
you then
the
got to
stadium
buy that
then?
also. If that
Oh.
is where I think it is, hang on, I'm trying to work out if that is where I think.
Because it looks
This
like
is from
the
the
street.
this is from the
Fulham Road?
perspective of Stamford Gate, like in the bottom right. That's
Yeah.
Stamford Gate.
Hang on, is that when Ahmed? When you hang on, you say that's the 19 that hotel? Is that the one that's like literally next to this? That's next to the stadium.
Yeah, so you know
Like,
when you
next to
enter,
one
when
of the
you,
entrances.
yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, like bro, that whole street that you're telling us that they need to buy. Number one, that's a bunch of houses. Number two, there's a bunch of like pubs and bars and shit which like people go to before. Then there's not a chance in hell that that's being bought.
No.
And there's not a
I'm not
chance
saying
in hell.
I'm saying the thing that we brought is the one right at the end. That's the place we brought, by the way.
Which what the up that bit?
Yeah, that bit, the way Marshall was highlighting.
No. Yeah, that I understand. I'm saying to Marshall's point, him saying buy all this, like the bit down the
Yeah.
side, like that's not.
That's going to
possible.
cost you millions.
I'm just
That's gonna
saying
cost
if
you
we
millions.
could.
Not even that. No,
Oh,
not
yeah.
even
I'm
about
sure-
buying it about the
Broccoli's loaded,
financial
man.
aspect. I'm talking about like
Whether or not, they're going to give it up.
that's that.
Yeah, business owners aren't going to.
If I'm not mistaken, there are people that own land there, that own their houses already there. That's the problem as well. It's not just the council. If it was just a council built house, then that would have been fine. But like, it's actually people who have bought their houses from the council via buy to let. So you have to pay them a fee as well.
Listen, man, I'm just saying, Bowley, like,
got money.
people could just, people could just disappear. I'm
But
just,
even then, how much?
I'm just saying, like,
just go elsewhere. Go and build it elsewhere. Like that's what the plan was.
Yes,
Underwhelming.
we need to build
That
a
makes
yeah,
the most
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Fuck the
Like-
Chelsea pitch owners. Fuck them off. Call us London Blue if we have to do. I don't care. Like I do not care.
that whole like call us London Blue. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
100%.
Like
I feel like I'm playing Pez every week going to watch us. It's cool.
I feel like
Fine.
the owners should be able to buy them out, like without their consent. Just
Maybe.
give them a good good amount of money, and say thank you for supporting the club, and we'll be taking your shares.
They own the trademarks to the club name, though. That's the thing, and all that.
Yeah. I just
London
want
Lions.
That's the thing. We'd have to. That's what Scott was saying. We have to change names if we want to move without their permission.
London Lions
just
sounds like
call
an
it
American football team, man.
Chelsea.
The Detroit Lions, man.
Chelsea
We're not for the
won.
Detroit
Chelsea. Yeah, Chelsea
The
won
London
FC.
Lions. Oh my god, I don't know. Like there's so many. I don't know if it is a good name, but there's just so many outliers to this situation. It's really quite a difficult one. So I do hope that the owners don't lose motivation or ambition to get this done, and I hope they do stick to their word about getting this done by 2030. Hopefully, a solution. I'm in agreement with Scott about just moving the stadium elsewhere. And please, Chelsea pitch owners, just agree with it and just get it done. I don't care if it's an inconvenience to you because you have to travel another 10, 20 minutes. If you love Chelsea, you'll do it. Like
By the
come
way,
on.
they're not going to lose motivation because they literally need this to make more money. This is part of them making more revenue streams.
Oh yeah. Also, this is
Yeah.
mandatory, right? Because they.
Well,
that's the
yeah,
thing
it's
with Roma.
mandatory in the sale agreement, and they also just need to do it anyway to make more money because the club wasn't self-sufficient under Roma.
It's not even that. Like, there's going to come a point where, just from a pride perspective, it's like I went through them the other day. Like, there's going to come a point where you're going to struggle. You're not even going to be in the biggest 10 grounds in the Prem.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that too.
There's a chance you might fall out of the rate it's going with some clubs, and obviously the space that they have around their things. There'll come a point if we don't increase the capacity where we might not even be the top 20 clubs in England in terms of the stadium capacity, the way things are going, which is wild to think.
So hopefully, there's some progress being made towards this that we hear about soon, because last we heard it wasn't going to happen over at Earl's Court. and there was still no decisions on what's going to happen with this.
Marshall, where's Oscourt? Where's let's test you quickly. Where is Oscourt, Marshall?
It's north of Stamford Bridge, a few miles north of Stamford Bridge.
No, it's not.
Or south? I don't know.
West,
north or south?
East, sorry, a bit more east up from that. From Stamford Bridge.
Northeast?
East, a bit east from it. It's like only from there. If you just
southeast?
East, no, that's literally just east, literally.
Okay.
It's only like 3
I know
roads.
It's not that far.
It's like 3 roads. It's like 3 roads essentially. You can travel via 3 roads to get there. Yeah, 3 roads. Yeah.
I understand it's not that far from where the stadium currently is, so it does think. And yeah, if I understood correctly too, the reason we can't do anything at Earl's Court is because there is currently a project being built that's being worked on as we speak there right now.
It's housing.
And is it housing or is it a mall? I don't remember.
That's what I thought. I think it's housing.
It's housing
Yeah,
now,
so
man. Because there used to be a performance center where you could do all these performances and everything like that, man. Shame it's gone.
yeah, so let's see what progress is being made on this. Hopefully we get some better news rather than just the same news regurgitated over and over again. But all right, let's move on to the next topic, which is there was a vote on banning Premier League teams from loaning players from clubs they already own. If I said that correctly. I think I said that correctly. I don't know, but let's go into detail. It'll explain more if I didn't explain it right. So, according to Fabrizio Romano right here, breaking, Premier League clubs have voted against ban on clubs loaning players from within the same ownership group. That's a better way to say it. It means Newcastle can sign players on loan from PIF-owned clubs, and same from for other clubs like Crystal Palace with Leon and others and similar situations, which, by the way, had no idea Crystal Palace and Leon were the same owners.
Yes,
Premier League clubs have voted 13-7 against a temporary ban on associated party club loans. It needed 14 votes to be passed. Chelsea, Newcastle, Sheffield United, Man City, Everton, Wolves, and Forest voted against the ban of not being allowed to sign players on loan from partner teams. Then Ben Jacobs here giving us a summary. Premier League clubs have voted against temporary ban on associated party loans. Clubs voted 13-7 in favor, but 14 is needed in order for the motion to pass. It means clubs with same owners are free to trade in January. Important not to view EPL votes on associated party loans and transactions as solely Newcastle United centric. Longer standing desire to clarify issues. Several EPL clubs have multi-club models, and some without have future appetite or have engaged in commercial deals with related parties, which is why the vote was always expected to be tight. So, translation, we can basically loan from Strasbourg. But
Yeah.
that's not how we operate anyways. We send our loans to Strasbourg as it is. We don't really get loans from Strasbourg, but you never know. Something could happen in the future. Yeah. But yeah, what do you guys think about this? I feel like
it makes sense. It makes sense
Makes
for
sense.
us personally. It makes sense for us personally, and I'll be real. It makes sense for us because,
Not even just us. Like as they said, like at least half the league is in some way, shape, or form linked with like other clubs in other leagues. Like this is an L for like so many clubs that voted on the other side, like Brighton, Bournemouth, Wolves, just to name a few. Palace again as well. Like it's just an L on so many levels. Because like, excuse me. Because what happens if like I know it's temporary, but what happens if they say, oh, this temporary thing, yeah, that's now permanent.
Mhm.
Then
I mean,
Wolves didn't vote for it. So just the other ones I mentioned.
Yeah, so I'm assuming United voted against it.
Which is an
Tottenham
L,
voted against it.
That's an L because they're about to be like linked to Nice. Cool. That's
Yeah.
an L. Have fun with that. Have fun with that to Debo transfer.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it makes sense to keep this option open because we are getting to a point, I think, in football where there are going to be multi-club models. Not just Man City, not just Red Bull, not just Chelsea, but like we're going to see it, not just Newcastle. Let's add Newcastle to that as well. Like, it just makes sense to me that why close out that option? you're gonna need to benefit from this eventually. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if some Saudi ownership comes in, swoops in, and buys I don't know, Luton.
Why would
I don't know, just throwing a name.
Why would the Saudis? I think the Saudis are great. They got their club, man.
They wouldn't
No,
be able
Saudis
to
are great,
either.
everything, man.
I just want to point something out as well. In the Premier League, there are currently 11 clubs that have a multi-club model of some description. In terms of they are linked, their ownership group is linked to another club in another league. At least one of them.
So
That's
yeah,
half
why?
the league. That's half the league. Like, the own goal is unbelievable. Some of these teams. Yeah, Forest did, Palace did. You can see the teams that did voted against it on screen, and all of them make sense. I didn't realize. I assume Sheffield United are. I think the Sheffield United owners, are planning on buying a team or getting shares in a team, so that makes sense. And then all the others, Everton, I did not realize. I assume they must be. Otherwise, I don't know why they voted no. And the others all are have a multi-club model or are linked with another team elsewhere. Brighton voted for. Bournemouth voted for. Who else? Palace, yeah. United.
I don't know.
I'm surprised United and Spurs voted against this, considering
no,
they're big
Spurs
clubs.
aren't linked with anyone.
Not to say they won't in the future, I'm sure.
Maybe not.
I don't know.
Listen, I'll be real, man. Listen, I think for me it was very stupid by Brighton as well. That's very stupid. They only have someone on loan from one of their own clubs. If I'm
Bro, arguably their best player came from their fucking affiliate club.
That's what I'm saying to you. For me, it just feels very stupid to allow this rule through. So clear, and then I feel like this is the long-term future of football. Eventually, they probably would have had to amend this thing, in the next year or two. So
no, it
really,
is, but that's the thing. It is the future, and that's why you need to get ahead of it with certain things. And you'll get the most random links like Palace and Lyon, or Wolves and Grasshoppers in Switzerland and stuff like that. You just get the most random links. The Sheffield United owners, I won't be surprised if they buy a club in I don't know, Uzbekistan or Azerbaijan or something, and then people are oh, fair enough. You're just trying to get ahead of the market in there, and it's that's just how it is at the moment. Excuse me. Yeah, it's just
for me. It is for me. This seems a bit stupid.
Counterintuitive.
Yeah, very counterintuitive. But clearly, it's been stopped now. So they've taken it on this anyway. So who cares?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully,
it is as well. Just from an on-pitch perspective and an off-pitch financial perspective, it's just I don't know. It's just such an odd move to do. And also as well, I mentioned this on this stream maybe, or Lewis stream on a different stream. There is less of a link linking Newcastle and any Saudi team than there is with most of the multi-club model teams.
Mm-hmm.
For example, there is more of a link between Bournemouth and Lorient than there is between Newcastle and any Saudi team. Because the Bournemouth owner literally has a stake, literally owns part of Lorient.
It's crazy, man, honestly.
And I swear there's nothing actually linking, apart from the fact they're Saudi Arabian, there's nothing linking the Saudi Arabian owners of Newcastle to any Saudi team, as far as I'm aware, apart from PIF.
I think PIF funded the Saudi teams with all that money.
So they don't actually own them.
Yeah, it was a funding based thing. Yeah,
but PF
don't own them. So there's no.
PF owns it. No. It does own. It actually parts owns all of the clubs because of the injection, the 20 billion.
Okay,
to the club. So there is a part. That's why the deal to get Neves for the next 6 months is essentially being screwed.
The funniest thing about all of this, by the way, the funniest thing about all of this is when Newcastle don't sign a single player from Saudi Arabia on loan.
That's what I'm saying. I would feel for the most part, it's going to work the opposite direction, where we'll be the Premier League clubs will be loaning out players to the smaller clubs, not vice versa.
But that's what the point is, Marshall. The whole point for the Premier League clubs, theoretically, obviously in some cases a bit different, for Palace and Lyon, for example. Obviously Lyon are doing shit now, but you'd hope that's a two-way street, where it's a player pull someone out of thin air, Nuama, I think his name is, the young Ghanaian that signed from Denmark in the summer and is playing for Lyon. He might be someone who in the future, that's maybe he goes to Palace, that could be a link there. but like maybe Palace can send someone the other way, maybe not, but like that's a two-way street. But like us and Strasbourg, that's at the moment a one-way street. But you're hoping that if they get any top tier, like say they turn into Le Havre all of a sudden and start bringing up the best of like the French youth players, cool, that's a pipeline then that we've got for those players. Like that's what the whole point is, and it's just mind-blowing.
Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah, thankfully we can still do any sort of agreements with Strasbourg in January if we need to, which I'm sure we will, considering... Oh yeah, we can't because we're out of foreign...
Yep.
Okay.
And
well,
I'll be real, they've got
future.
no one currently in their team that we need.
Well, I meant
So
in the
unless we-
sense of sending
unless we
people
plan on-
there, but-
Unless we plan on selling a player to them with the view of buying him back.
True. But yeah, we'll see what happens with this rule still being intact if it gets exploited. I don't think it's going to get exploited, but you never know. And hopefully it does stay the way it is because it would benefit us, but also would benefit teams in the future, I feel. Let's go on to the next topic, and it's your favorite boy. It's your favorite United player making headlines
Oh, I
again.
saw this.
Yeah, I figured we'd talk about it. It's been a while. So, according to The Athletic, I just noticed the emoji here. Oh, my days.
Charles
Okay.
transfers, man. You gotta come with that.
All right. Anyways, Mason Mount's mind was made up from the start of the summer. Mount was delighted too. He said he couldn't be more excited to be headed north to Manchester United. Speaking to some of those close to Mount, he loves playing in front of huge crowds and doesn't seem to miss Chelsea anything like as much as some imagine he would, having been there since he was 6 years old.
Proper Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
I hope he stays there for the rest of his career.
let him.
Honestly,
because
he's not done anything for United. United are going
He's
to
not-
boom him out of United soon.
Because
That's
guess
fine,
what,
sorry.
Chris? Because he's worse than the other player they had that was there that was already another version of him, but is somehow better.
Who, Bruno? Or wait.
Bruno. Him and Bruno are the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
player.
Yeah,
They're
they are
literally the
similar.
same player, just the passport's different.
And like, yeah, Bruno's a better player, like in general anyway. Like he's got a better passing range than Mason Mount. He's got better shooting than Mason Mount. He can definitely take a better penalty than Mason Mount. And the only thing maybe Mason Mount can do better than Bruno is probably press, but he doesn't really press in a strategy, like tactical way. Like I don't know, like he's all over the place. I feel like Bruno's better in that sense anyway. But yeah, the fans are not gonna like Mason Mount. I have literally a few United fans don't want him no more. They say keep taking him back or he's shit. He's doing nothing. I think the only one who kind of defends him, like out of all my like United bubble, is like my brother. He said, "Oh, he presses well and stuff." I was like, "Yep, you're gonna be saying that more often."
Cool. We're there already. It only took him like 3 months, and we're there already. Bro,
Like,
honestly, Arsenal and United fans have had what we had on speed. Instead of it taking 3 years to get to that stage, it's taken 3 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing is, the reason why he gets backed at Chelsea is because he's from the youth. He won't, like, as obvious, he won't get that at United anyway, because like he comes for 60 million. The fans are ruthless, man. Like I see the fans going for Bruno. I see them going for anybody, like any player. Like it don't matter. Maybe they like a bit soft on their youth. I don't know. I don't think they even like McTominay most of the time. So yeah,
No,
United's
they do.
more ruthless. Do they? Like they do right now probably, but I'm pretty sure
It
most
depends
of the time.
on
Yeah, it depends on.
it depends on who you ask. Like their fan base is kind of like Chelsea in the sense of it's massively split. You'll get the real people who like understand that like McTominay shit, Shaw's shit, like the Rashford shit. These guys are not it. And then you'll get the ones that are like will back the English players. But when it comes to like the foreign players, they'll not.
Well,
What I-
yeah.
What I wanted to bring up too with Mason is that even it's gotten so bad because like I know Vic's saying it here, he may or may not regret the move. I don't think the move would have changed anything. I think he would have the same season he's having now at Chelsea had he stayed versus had he just gone. I don't think I think this was projected to happen. Like he's fallen off of a cliff since I guess if you want to say since that GNA season, right? Since 2 years ago.
Well, let's just put it like this. You know, as bad of a start to the season that we've had, because it is a bad start to the season. Don't let the recency bias of beating Spurs 4-1 fool you. No, we've had a bad start to the season. Where is Mason Mount in the conversation of, if we had him in the team, we'd be doing bits? No, because we got Cole Palmer, and the only player we're really asking for to be in this team is Nkunku and a striker, or a new striker. Mm-hmm. This guy's nowhere in the equation, and nor is he in the equation for Manchester United. And this is a point that Flawless brings up constantly. As bad as we are, where is Mount in the conversation of bring him into the team and the form might improve? He's not.
I mean, I couldn't believe a manager finally had the balls to bench him. Aaron Teg finally did it. Go ahead, Scott.
No, genuine question. In the Manchester United pecking order of midfielders, who's he above?
Probably Hannibal, I think. Because he's not above McTominay. He's above Casemiro, but is Casemiro injured right now?
No, he isn't. Casemiro's injured. When Casemiro's fit, he plays.
When he's fit. Assuming players are fit, I'm thinking.
Assuming everyone's fit. So he's not above Eriksen. He's not above Amrabat. I'll tell you what, I can guarantee he won't be above Mainu, because it seemed that Ten Hag rated Mainu in pre-season.
Yeah, it must be Hannibal then. That's the only one.
Oh, cool, brilliant. So he's the second. He's second from bottom in the pecking order.
That's pretty bad. And listen,
actually not even arguably, for the worst top.
Oh, Van der Beek as well. Van der Beek.
Oh, cool.
Van der Beek is still at the team?
Yeah, he is.
There's the response. There's the response I was waiting for. It's so cool. So he's above the guy who everyone's forgotten.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
But yeah, so as I said, he is the second. He is third from bottom then in the midfield pecking order for the worst top six side, big six side currently. I don't care about league position. I don't care about points. That Man United team is shit. That Man United team is worse than us. They fluked wins. They fluked wins. They should have got battered by Burnley, or they did get battered by Burnley. Should have lost. Got battered by, was it Brentford? Should have lost.
Wolves
should have lost. They're the worst big six team in the league, and he can't start them. And he's third from bottom choice.
That's pretty rough.
And all this. Just on United quickly. All this garbage about they're the best form team in the last 5 games. That's just gaslighting. Because look at the level of opposition.
Just based on results, that's all it is.
But look at you just can't compare it. It's not like every club has played the same teams. These lot have played the bottom of the barrel and scraped it. They're awful.
You know what? I'm a little surprised because when we were predicting how he was gonna work out at United, I was thinking that he would have a good first season and dip off again. Just because he would be.
There was a possibility, but as soon as you see that Ten Hag's going to try a Casemiro, Mount, Fernandes midfield, that's when you know it's just never. He's not having a good first season at all, and now he can't get in the team.
This was always going to happen because, as has been pointed out by Flawless and other United fans, you can't play Bruno and Mount in the same team. And who's he taking out?
I've been saying. Yeah, it's not looking good for Mason Mount, which, I mean, he's not our player anymore. I don't really have much sympathy, especially considering the fan base that followed him over there as well. Good riddance. I mean, the bar is so low that even Havertz is having a better season than him, which is it's fucking horrible. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Hey, listen, he's home, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's home. Yeah, he's home. He's got his contract. Earn your money on the bench, and if you pick up, then maybe you pick up. But I don't hear any of those Mount stands. Anyone saying that we're going to regret selling Matt Law. Remember Matt Law had that tweet.
He's too busy trying to shit on other players.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
doesn't want to talk about.
Yeah. Where's Enzo Fernandez' 100 million performance? Yeah, all that rubbish.
Yeah. Oh, we'll talk about Enzo soon. We'll talk about Enzo soon. I'm kind of annoyed Chris left and didn't stay because I wanted to bring him on for this specific topic. So we'll just go over this and just laugh a little together as a crew here. There's some more news on Timo. So listen, take this with a grain of salt. And
Is he fuck?
So Timo Werner is being considered as an option for Real
Can you hear
Madrid in
anything, by the way,
January.
guys? Quickly. Sorry.
Yes, yes.
Sorry. That's like I was next to my house.
Bro, who's banging in your house?
Celebrating something. I think.
Hey. Oh, those are fireworks.
Yeah, fireworks.
Yeah, we could hear them in the background. It's not that bad, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Timo Werner being considered as an option for Real Madrid in January transfer window. And then the next two years, Real Madrid leaders are considering the possibility of strengthening their attack in January after Vinny Jr.'s injury. They're thinking of Timo Werner as a target who has fallen out of favor for RB Leipzig. I'm taking this with a major grain of salt.
I'm being considered as Prince of Arabia. Yeah, cool. Next.
Yeah, I'm taking this with a major grain of salt. Listen, I know Real Madrid are hurting for a striker. I don't think they're hurting this bad. I think they'd rather just go and take a shot with oh my god, who's the kid that they just got? The youth?
Bellingham.
No. Hendrik.
He's not like, is he even registered with them yet? Is he
not 18 yet. He can't play for Real Madrid yet.
Well, how long until he can? What, 2 years? 1 year? Oh my goodness. Okay, never mind. I think they'd rather just go with the scouting.
I could be wrong. Actually, it might be earlier. I don't know if he's older than Victor Roque or not, because Victor Roque is joining Barcelona in January.
Victor Roque, he's not joining in January, by the way. They don't have the money to get him in January.
I thought it said he was joining in January.
They were trying to get him to join in January, but they're brokies, so they don't have enough peace to bring him in January.
Timo Werner is not a bad buy for them. I mean, the problem with Timo.
We're talking about Real Madrid. If that's scraping the bottom of the lowest barrel you can find.
They got Joselu.
They already have a. Never mind that. They already have a better striker than him in Joselu. Like
Hendrik can play for Real Madrid in 2024.
I'd rather play Courtois with a ruptured ACL on up striker than Timo Werner.
Timo has fallen out of favor with the team that he went back and made his career.
He's fourth choice. He's fourth choice striker at RB. Fourth choice striker at RB Leipzig.
That's not good. That's not good. So I feel like this is just clickbait headlines. I don't see Timo going to Real Madrid. I really don't.
Need it to happen. I need it. Let's go, man. Timo.
That happens. Jesus Christ.
If that happens, then I'm questioning.
Well, first Kepa, now him. What's going on here?
Listen, man, let them take our scraps and let them fuck them. You know what I mean? Hey, listen, they have to.
Yeah. Pause.
Oh, okay, fair. But listen, man, they can.
And you had banging noises going on in your house, and now you're talking about fucking. What's going on with
you? Hey, fair enough. Right, listen, I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna say this right now. Yeah, I just think let them continue on this. Let them take our scraps, and then they'll find out why they weren't at Chelsea in the first place. Right, how we move.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal found out and United found out. So, hey, Real Madrid, if you guys want to find out, we have a little bit of a Champions League rivalry. I know you're not going to face us this season, but next season, we're coming back. We're coming back for that revenge.
You know what? He should use that as his PR. I've scored 2 goals against you guys.
Is it just 2? I thought it was 3.
No, it was 2. It was the back-to-back
years. One the year we won, and then one the year after when we got knocked out.
Yeah. So one of only 2 fixtures he ever turned up for, that and Southampton.
All right, let's move on to the next topic I have for you guys, which is a little bit of an injury update and some good news that we have for our returning players. So here we have, according to Nazar Kinsella, Levi Colwill and Malo Gusto are now expected to return ahead of Chelsea's trip to Newcastle on Saturday, with both Nkunku and Lavia having potential 4 more training sessions to prove their fitness to Mauricio Pochettino's staff. 4 more training sessions, which this was 2 days ago. So they're gonna have a training session tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, I'm sure, and then Saturday's the game. I'm sure they'll be fine. They'll probably be on the bench. They're not gonna start. I don't see Nkunku starting, and Nkunku will probably come off the bench, get some minutes, and we'll introduce them slowly into the team. But what do you guys think?
They shouldn't be starting, and neither will either. Let me start again. Neither will either of these two be starting as well, and they probably both shouldn't either, considering who we've already got in the team and who is fit and whatnot.
I wouldn't be surprised if Lavia doesn't even get a single minute, or maybe he gets like a few, like, you know.
He'll probably get a few.
10 minutes at most off the bench. Same with
Nkunku. It probably depends on like the state of the game and
yeah, that too.
Might get Ugochukwu minutes, kind of how Ugochukwu has been getting like 7 minutes, 5 minutes at the end of the game. Yeah. We'll see how this goes. I'm excited though. Two really good players coming back. Our bench is going to look a little better. Hopefully, we don't have 2 goalkeepers on the bench anymore going forward. If we do, even with these players coming back, then I'm questioning a lot of things amongst the things that I've already questioned of Poch. But yeah, this is good news. Good news when it comes to the fitness of 2, what I'm going to believe is going to be key players for Chelsea going forward. But yeah, let's continue on then. Over to this is going to be Calm's favorite section. Calm, I hope you're still in the chat because we'd like to see what you have to think about these things. But let's talk about. What's up?
I said, you know what he's going to think about these things.
Oh yeah. Well, let's see, because now, listen. Prior to this that I found, I wasn't that impressed with Enzo this season. Not to say he hasn't been good, but I feel like last season he had more of an impact, but it could just be as a result of how shit we were. But now that our level has gone up just a bit, I would say, maybe it's not as noticeable. But let's read on. So Argentina media were not particularly impressed with the performance of Chelsea star Enzo Fernandez last night. TYC Sports have now claimed that it was weirdly quiet night for the 22-year-old who was overwhelmed in the middle of the park. And this is as a result of the Uruguay game where I'm pretty sure Argentina lost. So Enzo is tired, making a mistake, having international breaks like every month lately during domestic season is stupidity, traveling to the opposite zones, playing 60 minutes in a fiery game that then a mad festive period. It's insanity. I watched the game. He wasn't good, but he was thrown all around midfield, had to adapt. When Alexis McAllister got pulled off at halftime for being poor and being on a yellow, he seemed afraid to get into tackles, which isn't a terrible thing. So pretty much, yeah, he wasn't that great. Well, I do want to give some context to this. We forget that these players are human and they have personal lives and personal relationships outside of football. And I know Andrew was here not too long ago saying that we shouldn't excuse Enzo's being tired. You have 1 game a week and all that. And I agreed. But one thing I forgot to mention, and I forgot to take into account, is that Enzo Fernandez just recently had a kid. And for those of you in the chat and for those of you here in the panel who has had a kid, understands that those first few weeks of a child being born, sleep is a commodity. So you could say, oh, it's just sleep and all that. Like, listen, I'm on 5 hours of sleep today and I feel like crap. Imagine being an athlete at the highest level, not getting enough sleep. That does affect your game. And it makes sense because the last few weeks have not been his best performances. We saw the Man City game. We saw the Tottenham game. You know, we've been critical of those games in particular. But yeah, the kid's been busy. The kid, well, he is kind of a kid, but the guy's been busy with family stuff.
You got experience of that, Marshall?
No, I don't. But I've heard plenty of from other people, and I mean, Scott, I know you're a parent. You can probably attest to that.
Fair enough, yeah.
I have less experience because my kid doesn't live with me, but I hear things.
No, but like exactly, like we hear things, we know things. So that being said, though. Yes, the Enzo is tired, probably because of that. But then there was other stats that came up that I was okay. So Enzo Fernandez versus Premier League midfielders per 90 this season. progressive. He's first in progressive passes, first in through passes, first in forward passes, second in long passes, second in passes to the final third, third in just passes in general, third in passes to the penalty area, third in deep completions, and fifth is the expected goals. This, I don't know about you guys, but these stats seem very, very good for any player. And I would want, like, take Enzo out of this. Like, if you were to blur out Enzo's name, you would want a midfielder like this, I would assume. It seems like a very complete midfielder. So I guess, yes, eye tests, maybe he doesn't pass the eye test. But when you look at the stats and what he's doing.
Marshall. Sorry to interrupt. Calm. Do you understand the irony of your last comment? Like, do you genuinely understand the irony of your last comment?
Oh, my days, man.
Also,
Lavia's not going to get you.
Another comment earlier. He said another comment earlier about that what's his face, Enzo hasn't been good all season. That's when you know that this is nothing but agenda. Like, to say he's not been good all season is bollocks. It's straight up bullshit. He's not been good the last couple of games. I'd even argue, by the way, the City game, he wasn't even that bad, going back and looking at it.
Oh, he wasn't that bad.
I was really Caicedo in the City game, yeah.
It 100% was. But regardless, like, he hasn't even been that, like, take the, you say the last two games he's been bad, fair enough. Outside that, he's not been bad. Most of his bad performances this season are coming, he was playing as a 10, which he's not a 10. So...
Yeah, and Scott did point this out last time. We didn't talk about it on the stream, but if you notice how Gallagher played for England without Enzo and Caicedo, it's
uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah, it's not the same. So you can tell that the reason Gallagher has been doing so well is
he even looks at the
because of
Brentford game as well when Enzo was rested.
Yeah, it's because of what Scott and Andrew had mentioned previously, is that without the pivot of Caicedo and Enzo, you don't allow Gallagher to play at his best, pretty much.
Nope.
So you
and
have
that's not criticism of Gallagher, but it's just a healthy dose of perspective.
Exactly. Also, again, calm. Like, to say he was only good versus Liverpool is just straight up bullshit. Like, it's just straight up bullshit, and it just shows agenda.
Calm, the stats are right in front of you, man. That's why I posted this up, because I know you're not the only one that's critical of Enzo. I have been a little critical of Enzo this season. I feel like he hasn't been that good, or as good as last season, but that could be because of, like what I said earlier, is last season we were so shit that any decent player looked good. I said the same thing for Lewis Hall. I said the same thing for Enzo. Madueke, you could put in that conversation as well. Like, these players look pretty good because they shined in a pile of dirt of like shit.
But Marshall, even as you say that though, you look at the stats you've got on the screen right now. He was getting all of these last season.
Yeah. So like, these are good stats. Like, you take away Enzo Fernandez, and this is a really good stat for a midfielder. This is what you want your midfielder to do. You want your wingers and attackers to get GA. Your midfielders, the GA is just a compliment. And it's very far and few in between. Like, again, you have your Lampards that are standout midfielders in that sense. And Lampard was a number 10. Enzo's not number 10. And then KDB. Again, KDB is number 10. Enzo's not number 10. KDB is going to give you GA and this. But that's because KDB is a number 10. So, okay, let's...
But KDB isn't a number 10, but also he's like a freak of nature in terms of just like what he's able to do in terms of like the passes he's able to do. And the thing is, I think what you're wanting is Fernandez to be that, and I think actually Fernandez can be that. Like I've said this before, you put Fernandez in that City team and he's looking levels better of what we're seeing right now. Like levels better than what we're seeing right now. By the same token, you put KDB in this Chelsea team and he's probably going to look worse than his best. I'm not saying he's going to be shit, but he's not going to look the same KDB that he is right now. It's me and Alex had a debate about this actually last night on Lewis's channel, where we were talking about Vieira and Kante, because he tweeted something about Kante being better than Vieira, and it's like, I disagree, but I just didn't have the energy to debate that. But one of the things that we're talking about is like, if Kante played in the Invincibles and Vieira played in Leicester, they probably both not be as good as they were, because they don't have the things that make them good in the respective systems. So like, excuse me. So that's the thing. Like, Enzo in a better system probably looks much better. Same with KDB in a better system, he's going to look better. Most players are. And like, for example, Enzo's not going to be the like, At least not now. He could be in the future when in 3 years. But I don't think Enzo right now is the. I'm trying to think of a player in midfield because the easiest go to is like a Hazard type player where it doesn't matter the system, it doesn't matter who he's playing with or whatever. He can still turn up no matter what. I don't think Enzo's there yet. Hazard was that player. I'm glad you listened to what I'm said. I'm glad you listened to what I'm said and are not just fiddling with yourself. Brother, just listen to in one ear out the other. Excuse me. I don't think. And it's the same with Caicedo. Caicedo's not there yet. Same with Rice. Rice isn't there. Like we're seeing with Rice in this Arsenal team. Like all of a sudden, when the onus is on him to do something different, like when it's to be the DM and it's not to be the box to box, it doesn't look quite as comfortable. That's not to say Rice is a bad player. Caicedo isn't a bad player. Enzo's not a bad player. So when you take them out of their comfort zone and ask them to do something slightly different at their age, it's a little bit awkward.
Exactly.
And I do want to show this graph as well. Like we see, this is if you go this way, the further you are to the right, the more through passes per 90 that you make, and the further you are higher on this scale, the more accurate the passes. We have Enzo Fernandez over here as this is compared to the top 7 leagues in Europe, right? So this is being compared to other top midfielders in other leagues. People who rate Jude Bellingham is right over here. So what this graph tells me is that Bellingham has some accurate passes, but he doesn't make too many through ball passes. But people want Bellingham. Bellingham's been scoring goals and all that stuff, but he's not creating you many chances as Enzo has been creating you chances. Or as Enzo's been creating you runs, I would say as well. You know, Cole Palmer's also in that contention, close to Enzo Fernandez, and Cole Palmer's playing a more advanced position. You got your Frankie De Jong up here, accurate passes, take some chances. Kimmich, who I'm sure most of you guys in this panel, if not all of you guys, do rate Kimmich. I think Kimmich is a fantastic DM, and he's right up here with Enzo Fernandez. So again, like this is just one category, right? But again, like we're having these conversations about Enzo's not been that good this season. Enzo's not been this and that. Like, I think we've been spoiled a little bit, and we have to take a step back and realize like Enzo's job is not a very entertaining one. It's not flashy. It's not flair. You know, like you're not going to see him do phenomenal world-class passes every single game. But even then, he does do a decent amount of passes every game that like are impressive. Like people want to bring up the Liverpool game. You could argue that he had a similar performance against Liverpool like what he had against Man City just recently. I would say that against Man City, he did lose the ball a little bit more than against Liverpool. But it's Man City. It's a tough midfield to face with Man City. You have Roger, who's one of the best in the world when it comes to the DM position. But like again,
also on a side note as well. Sorry to interrupt. Like on the stats, on the stats,
he wasn't garbage against City. What are you talking about? Look at the passes that he made against City. He was involved with one of the goals. Like
second half until we came off, he was terrible. First half he was okay, like he was decent. The thing that he there was some mistakes. But the thing that he was doing against City that literally no one else in our team, especially from the midfield, was doing was driving forward with the ball. People don't understand in terms of getting up the pitch. Like one of the best ways to do it, I say one of the best ways, an effective way to do it is to drive forward with the ball. If your press resistance, it was Kovacic's best attribute. He had other things he had problems with, but like that's the thing. You hope that Enzo can build more on that. Just on the stats thing, by the way, since we're doing this, I was going to bring this up in another show we were doing where we talked about Enzo. But I went and looked at the stats because most like in terms of players or in terms of like profiles, Enzo most gets compared to like your like Cruces, Pirlo's, etc. Xavi Alonso's. He's another one I'm going to look up actually. So in 700, forget goals. I'm not focusing on goals. That's not what we bought Enzo for. Let's just focus on assists. In 721 games, Cruz has 160 assists across 17 years of playing men's football.
Yeah, we've brought up this stat before. I remember we talked about this.
Also, Pirlo has less in more games. In 756 games, has 132 assists.
One of the greatest registas in the game.
Also, does anyone want to guess in? Hang on a second. Give me 1 second. What? So we retired in 2017. I've got to do maths. In 23 years of playing men's football, in 23 years, how many seasons do you think Pirlo cracked double-figure assists?
Probably
23
two.
years. I was gonna say 5.
You said 2, Ahmed.
Yep.
How many would you say, Oliver?
I'll go 2.
Of that.
I was gonna say 5.
1.
One.
One season.
Wow, Jesus.
Which I believe is actually the same year that he was in the team of the year, which was that 2011-12. He got
Probably.
14 assists.
But calm, you're like again. I feel like you're just. This is an agenda. There has to be an agenda because, like,
Oh, it is.
okay, it's a regista, but it's the same position. It's still number 6, just a different style of playing the number 6. And you could argue that as a regista, who Pirlo was and one of the best in the game, this man had
You know what
magnificent passing. You would
You know
think
what
he
I
would
would
have
say?
more assists.
No, I'll just say to this point that Colin's making, if this is what he believes, then that's fair to him. At the end of the day, Lavia is now, I think, pretty much back now. He's probably going to be,
Yeah.
he's probably not going to play the Newcastle
Oh
game.
my days! Oh, bro, forget.
Guess what?
Hey, sorry. Let's talk about Xavi Alonso's GNA. Let's talk about Xavi Alonso's GNA. My man has barely cracked 100 goals and assists. We're including goals now because let's do the agenda thing as well. My man has barely cracked 100 goals in 695 appearances. He never
Shit.
in his career in the league, in a league season, never got double-figure assists.
Damn.
The closest he got was 8.
And then that's a
That's
Xabi
what I'm
Alonso
saying.
playing with Ronaldo at times.
He got 69 assists in 695 appearances.
Yeah, just for context, that's a Xabi Alonso. He played with Ronaldo. He played with Lewandowski.
Torres,
You know, all these guys.
I say Torres,
Yep.
Ronaldo, Benzema, Lewandowski. Played for 3 of the biggest teams at the time in the respective years.
And this is what I'm saying. Like each midfielder, like Calm, you brought up the GNA, so I'll bring up GNA, and this is why Scott's bringing up GNA because you
GNA
brought
for
up
GNA,
GNA.
yeah? We're doing GNA
Right?
for
You-
GNA.
You brought up the GNA when it comes to Enzo Fernandez's stats, right? You look at. I don't see the same type of criticism for N'Golo Kante. N'Golo Kante didn't have high GNA.
Nope.
Why did we recognize N'Golo Kante for being good? It's because he's one of the best tacklers and dribblers in the midfield.
Where was Matic's goals and assists? I remember
Yeah.
Matic getting assists.
Yeah, and that's also like, did Claude Makelele have a lot of goals and assists? He's considered a Chelsea
No,
legend.
Mikel didn't either.
Let me go and look at Michael Ballack's goals and assists.
Yeah, and Michael Ballack
again,
was
like,
very attacking.
Because he hasn't like. So Calm, what was he elite at?
We're not making them look bad. You're making them look bad because they're not to the standard that you
I'm
want.
talking
You
about,
want
I'm talking
everyone to
about
be
some of the
Frank
greatest
Lampard.
midfielders. I'm talking about some of the greatest midfielders that have ever graced the football, ever graced the football pitch. And no one, when I think of Xabi Alonso, not once do I think of all those assists, all those goals. I think of just an all-round complete midfield player. I don't look at goals and
But
assists.
again,
When I
calm.
think of players, regardless of position, when we think of Zidane, we think of just an unbelievable player in all aspects of attacking football.
oh yeah,
People don't realise that he has less. Actually, no, people do because I keep banging on about it. He has less goals at club level than Bruno Fernandes.
this is what we're talking.
Sorry,
Calm,
goals
like
and
you're saying,
assists. Goals and assists.
because he was elite at what he did. Get the fuck out. N'Golo Kante was elite at what he did. Okay, but according to you, Enzo isn't elite because he's not giving you the GNA, which is what you want from him. But you don't have that same exact standard for N'Golo Kante. You let it pass. But when Enzo Fernandez is showing you that he's elite at passing and progressing the ball forward, when you look at these stats, according to other Premier League players per 90, he's one of the best in the league. Then he's not elite because these aren't the stats that you're looking for. That's what I mean. Like, yeah, listen, Calm, you don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe it, Calm, but everyone else in the chat sees it. I'm just saying, everyone in this
Just
panel
on a
sees
side
it.
note,
We
by the
all
way.
see it. We all understand.
By the way, on a side note, his last comment, by the way, about the let's see Enzo make that world 11. Two things.
Yeah.
There's 2 things with that. Number one, we're talking about a 22-year-old. We're talking about a 22-year-old in his first full season in the Premier League. Like,
Oh,
we're not
22. That's the
talking
other
about-
thing too. This kid's young.
Also, does anyone know how many times?
Rivals have agendas, Calm.
Bear with me 1 second.
Of course, they're not going to talk highly of Enzo. Like, what are we talking about?
So Andrea Pirlo made the team of the year once, which was the year that he got those 14 assists. Which is when hang on, that was 2012. So how old is fucking? I've got to do maths. Give me a second. So we're talking 11. So he'd have been fucking hell. He'd have been 33, I think, or 32. Let me go and look at when Cruz got in team of the year. Same with Alonso. Same with who else did he mention? Kante. Like, I expect Enzo to be making the team of the year. Like, I expect him to be making team of the year in like 3 years' time. No one's expecting him. Like, I don't know anyone that's expecting him to make team of the year, like world team of the year. We're not talking Premier League. We're talking world team of the year right now. Because look at the people he's competing with. De Bruyne, Silva, Bellingham will probably be in there because the work, like the work that he's done.
Sure.
Who else? Who else am I thinking is probably going to be in world team of the year? Bro, my mind's like it's midnight. My mind's like gone. But these are the people he's competing with. Also, if we're talking FIFA World 11, Pirlo's been in there once as well, as in 2006. So again, he was 27 or 28 at that point, or 26. Again, my point still stands. He's 4 years of Enzo's elder.
And by the way, I did want to point this out as well. Enzo subbed off in 70 minutes against Brazil, mind you. Okay, listen, Brazil might not be the best Brazil we've seen, but it's still Brazil. This is a team that in the World Cup qualifier, which I don't know, for those who don't know about South American World Cup qualifier, it's very much like league table-esque in the sense of how it works.
That's how every qualifier.
Not for you guys.
Yes.
You guys have a different way of doing it.
No, we have the same way. It's just a lot more. It's like expanded because they only have 10 teams. Theirs is the same way. Just they're all in the same league table. Like they're all in the same group effectively.
But yeah, my point in saying that is essentially that Brazil always finishes first in this one. And just in this game alone, you look at the stats, like he had 1 key pass, 4 out of 5 long balls completed, 6 out of 8 duels, 2 clearances, 1 block shot, 5 tackles. I don't know if you guys saw the game. And if you did, it was a very, very physical match. And physical also.
That game,
was insane.
Well, that made AFCON look nice. It actually made AFCON football look nice.
You know what? I wanted to talk about this with you guys.
No, I didn't watch it.
Marshall,
It's
I don't know
insane.
if you ever watch AFCON football. AFCON football, yeah. These guys is PMP, and then there's nasty tackles everywhere. There was no play for the first half completely. Literally, no one was playing the first half. Just tackling the shit out of each other, literally. And
yeah, it was
for
bad.
me, it was quite bad. And I think for me, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, I don't really care. Like, they're already top of the group. Brazil's dead last. It's not like it's going to be a game changer for them anyway.
Yeah.
Brazil's
it's the
not
first
last,
time.
but-
Yeah, Brazil's last.
They're not actually last. They're last in terms of the places to get to qualify. They're not actually last. There's no way they can finish last, bro. Like they already have more points than Peru. Peru have 1 point.
Yeah, Peru's not been good.
Fair enough.
We're second our manager as we speak. Peru's not been hot. But oh my god, Peru's really bad. Fuck.
They've got 1 point. Bro.
Yeah, it's been bad. It's been really bad. We were winning against Venezuela last night too, and we just bottled it. So yeah, not looking good for Peru.
I forgot your.
Yeah, it's I haven't been watching Peru for a particular reason, and it's because we've been bad. We had a good manager, but we couldn't keep him, so now we're going back to old Peruvian legends, and it never works. They're not good enough. But yeah, like that game yesterday is the way it was handled was such a fucking disgrace. I don't know if you guys have seen many of the clips and stuff of how the police were handling the crowd, but it was not good. It was not good at all. It makes me. I don't know if you guys know this, but La Bombonera, which is where Boca Juniors play, it's a banned stadium for this kind of behavior. If this is what's going to happen consistently in La Maracana, I would suggest that it also get banned, because you just can't have that. It was ridiculous. There was like, the Argentinian players said it best. Like, there's family that's in the stands, and they were involved in that shit too. It's just so disgraceful.
You know what it is? Like, I don't know. Like, it seems that the stadium doesn't have an actual place to put away fans in. You know what I mean?
No, it's a really old stadium. Like, the Maracana has been around for a hot minute, and it holds like a lot of people. But
I'm just making the point that eventually you're gonna have to bring up some level of modernization, because otherwise, particularly if it's like a Brazil versus Argentina game where that tensions are gonna be running high. Find something else to do.
It was the first game.
They ever lost. 1954.
I think it's just in general the first game they ever lost.
Yeah, at home. It's the first game Brazil have lost at home since 1954.
Yeah, that's insane.
I think in a qualifier, actually. I mean, that's in a qualifier.
It's just shambolic. I'm glad that Enzo came out of that unscathed, because how many fouls were in that game? Is there a count of how many fouls were in that game?
There was I think there was something like 14 fouls in 15 minutes or something, or 17 fouls in 15. It was nuts.
It was an absolute physical game. According to the stats here, 16 fouls for Argentina, 26 for Brazil.
Holy shit.
So doing the math there, 42 fouls in total. And that's counting the fouls that were called by the ref, obviously. There probably were fouls that weren't called by the ref. So it was a very physical game. I'm happy Enzo came back unscathed. But regardless, in that game alone, Enzo did pretty good for the 70 minutes he played. So, yeah, it's a shame what happened. I hope that stadium gets put on a ban list, or at least temporarily banned until security fixes up. Because the fact that security did that just tells me that they need to be more professional about this. It shouldn't be allowed. If we're gonna ban the Bombonera, which is Argentina, like that's where Boca Juniors play, for that kind of behavior, then Maracana has to have the same exact treatment, in my opinion. I don't care how big of a stadium it is. So it's just it's a shame. Any other thoughts on Enzo before we move on?
No, not really. Just I obviously he needs to improve in terms of to get to that world-class level. No one's saying that he's been perfect. No one even and no one said that he hasn't had his flaws so far this season. To outwardly lie about how he's played is one thing, or is another thing. But yeah, I just think that I don't think the price tag helps him, and I think that was always
obviously
the same way with Caicedo. Like, let's be frank, Caicedo has not been that £100 million player either.
No.
Despite it being early, but like that's what those price tags can do. None of the I think I said this on a previous stream. Outside of Bellingham, none of the £100 million midfielders that were bought over the last couple of years have been £100 million midfielders so far.
You can make the same argument for Rice.
That'll come with time, though. Like, I fully expect it like a couple of years, as long as the situation, for lack of a better term, and like the status around the club in terms of like it's not basically on fire, and everyone's talking about the manager being sacked, and we're not in 10th again. As long as the situation around the club is fine, then I have no worries about Enzo, Caicedo, none of these guys.
Yeah, I think they'll come good. And in the long haul, I think we'll be pretty content with what they provided in the club. So again, I'm going to be patient with him. I think there needs to be more consistency when it comes to Enzo, but that'll come with time. And I'm hoping, like you guys mentioned in chat, with Lavia's return, there'll be more rotation and chance to rest Enzo.
We need to stop with this Lavia thing. Like, it's getting to the point where speaking about him the same way we're speaking about Nkunku. Like, this bro needs to play football and stay fit for more than like 20 minutes.
Let's hope he can stay fit. That's the first question.
The only reason I bring up Lavia is because
we're talking about someone who, number one, we've seen one season of Premier League football, and yes, it was very good, but it was at Southampton. Like, we've seen people before go from those type of teams where they're the main guy, go to a bigger team where they're not the main guy, and it doesn't always work. Jack Grealish being one of them. We're seeing that at the moment. And also, he hasn't played football in like what 4 months. Like he didn't play a pre-season game with Southampton, did he? Or he played once.
One, I think, yeah.
So he's played one game like since the end of last season, and it was a friendly. And I don't know how long he played. Like we need to wait. I'm sure he's going to be good, but can we wait before we start talking about Lavia in the sense of he's suddenly going to be part of the savior, like one of the saviors of our season?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mean it in that context. I just meant it in the context of like having a suitable replacement or a suitable.
Got a good Chukwu for now. He can do a job. For now,
he can do a job.
Yeah, for now though, like we can use him in that. Like if someone needs a rest, we can use him for that whilst Lavia is building up the fitness.
Sure. Yeah. I don't disagree. But let's. Okay. Next story I want to move on to. Is with Badiashile. So there have been rumors and links to AC Milan, which I thought was interesting. But let's go ahead and read and dismiss some of these rumors. So there was rumors in Italy about AC Milan and Badiashile in January, and the only player leaving Chelsea in January in defense is Chalobah, and the club are looking at CBs. Badiashile is still part of the project. I love this comment here. Nah, I'm good. But yeah, the next comment here related to this is the only center backs Chelsea expect to leave in January is Trevor Chalobah. Chelsea invested big money in Badiashile, and he is absolutely part of their plans. They're looking at center backs in the market. I think another transfer that was mentioned in this that I don't have in a tweet was Malang Sarr. Apparently, AC Milan are interested in Malang Sarr.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Wait, they're looking for a center back.
Apparently.
Who is looking for a centre back again?
AC Milan.
Yeah, they do, because the guy they got, Tao, who plays alongside Tamori, he's not been cooking, bro. I'll be honest. And then the other guy they've got, which is Simon Kjær, is not great either.
His game must have dropped then, because he was decent for them for a few seasons.
No. His drop off the last 2 seasons has been really bad. And then obviously their former centre back that used to be there now is at Lazio as well. So they need some centre backs, bro. So what
was the former centre back? I forgot his name. Romagnoli, thank you. Yeah,
he's playing for Lazio now with my boy Sarri in it. So that's the problem. Listen, man, Badiashile ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? These men can start glazing up all they want to get him, but he ain't coming, man. You know what I'm saying? Thiago Silva's leaving end of the season. We know who our number one left centre back is in this club.
Listen, I'm not going to argue with that. I do like Badiashile, so. But maybe Thiago Silva goes to AC Milan. A little return for Thiago Silva?
I don't think so.
That's not a bad move for them.
It's not a bad move, but
I don't think he's going to want to.
It's a waste of time for all involved. Like, he wants to go back to Brazil, and he's running out of time to be able to do that. Like, I don't think he wants to be playing when he's 50.
You're probably not wrong. But yeah, I wouldn't entertain this. I mean, Badiashile, we know, is a very good center back for the club. I mean, I would entertain this if we're talking about maybe Wesley Fofana. Maybe.
Yeah,
even then, I would like to see Wesley first.
If they want Big West, they can.
We're talking about arguably our best centre back. Like, they're not. This is not happening.
Hey, listen, Wesley Fofana. It's time to start learning Italian.
Peace.
Time to start learning Italian, man. Time to start learning Italian, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Hey, don't worry, man.
He might know Italian for all you know.
Listen, man, just in case, you never know, man. You know, if in doubt, start learning the language.
I mean, is there a price that you guys would entertain for Badiashile?
Right now,
no.
0p. That's what I'm.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Buy one, get one free. Buy one, get one free.
Buy one, get one free.
You know what I'm saying?
Who's
Buy
the free one? Malang Sarr?
Buy Badiashile. Get Malang Sarr free. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
Yeah, we need to get rid of Malang Sarr.
Actually, I'll tell you what. If Mainyan wasn't injury prone, I'd entertain the swap.
You know, or maybe.
But he's not. But he's injury prone, so no.
Never mind.
Or you know, all we could do, yeah, you know, buy Liao, get Badiashile free.
I wouldn't even say that. No, I still wouldn't say that.
Fair enough.
That's a tough one. I have to think about that. I don't know if I would take it though, because I don't know. I'm pretty content with how things have been working out with our attackers so far. Layout would do the business though. So I don't know. But yeah, Badiashile links to Milan. Just rumors. As far as we're aware, he is not going anywhere. He is staying at the club. So so be it. And hopefully we do get to see him play often and soon. Let's move on to the next story, which is Ahmed, I told you, bro. I told you. So let's talk about Chalobah. So recent news came out about Chalobah, FC Bayern, Borussia Dortmund are both out of the race to sign Trevor Chalobah in January. After another muscle tear, Chalobah will only be match fit again at the end of January. This is a report from Plettigol 2 days ago, and then we have another one here. Bayern will sign a center back in January, but Trevor Chalobah from Chelsea is no longer a priority, according to Fabrizio. Then Jose Mourinho does not agree with the suggestion from director Thiago Pinto to sign Chelsea duo Trevor Chalobah and Malang Sarr. He wants Eric Dyer from Tottenham instead.
Cool.
There is no way. Listen, I love Mourinho.
This is a little bit of a howler.
He definitely does not think like this. I know he does not think like that, man. I trust that he doesn't think like that. That's what I'm saying.
We'll come back to this one. Let's come back to this one.
No.
Trevor Chalobah is no longer the priority and is cold for Bayern Munich. There are many clubs in different countries interested in him, including the Premier League. Let's see what happens, according to Fabrizio Romano. Trevor Chalobah has suffered another setback and is expected to be out until January, meaning he will have spent almost 6 months on the sidelines. Tottenham have cooled their interest in him due to injury concerns, according to Sky Sports. And I think that's one more tweet on Trevor Chalobah. Trevor Chalobah has suffered another setback and is expected to be out until early January, meaning he will spend. Okay, same tweet pretty much. Sky Sport News reporting it. Yeah, not looking good for Chalobah. Not looking good for Chalobah at all. Now I'm starting to think he should have taken that Nottingham Forest.
No, he should not have taken that Nottingham Forest loan.
For us, we should have. Maybe he shouldn't have, but we should have.
No, but we wanted to accept it. He didn't want to go. That was the problem.
Yeah.
Hey man, if he had gone, maybe he would have gotten game time. I actually think he might have actually gotten game time because they probably wanted him to be a starting centre back. I'll be real. Compared to what they have,
I would take him over Dyer personally. By the way,
yes, like Tottenham would be a good move for him. Like the thing for me is there's so many better moves for him in the Prem. Like there's better teams he could sign for that he would start for, or at the very least maybe be a backup option for. Like Spurs, he'd probably be the backup. But that's like a good move and a good place for him. So yeah, like that Forest move would not have been good for him because there's no guarantee he would have been the starter because they only play two centre backs and like the two they're playing at the moment, obviously one just got injured, but the manager was trusting both of them. So I don't know if he would have started.
I'm just baffled as to like how because this isn't he got the injury in the summer. And then I remember when the Carney setback news was put out, he also got a setback there. Now this is the second setback that he's received.
I think so.
Like, what's going on in training that this guy's falling apart now all of a sudden?
I don't know. It's fucking Poch and his training methods. They're absolute nonsense.
Maybe you're just not built for it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're just not built like that. You know what I'm saying?
I can't even like. I don't think it's. I fully believe it's something to do with training, bro. How many people have we had so far this season that have had setbacks,
bro? Like, listen, but the thing is, I don't think, particularly of the type of training that probably Poch gives to a lot of these players. If your body is not initially built for it, he is gonna kill you in the short term.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, Ahmed. That's why I don't fully put it on him. Is like I feel like Lavia got injured, then had a setback. You had obviously Chalobah's had a couple. Carney's had a. Did he have a setback?
Yeah, he was meant to come a lot earlier.
He's supposed to be back at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you had the Badiashile one. Oh yeah, no, it was September. Yeah, Badiashile. Because everyone's telling. Oh, I remember because everyone's telling me Colwell wouldn't be in the team when Badiashile was back.
The point I'm trying to make though, is that listen, man.
Oh yeah, true. Bro, forgot about this guy.
Tuchel, bro. I don't know what he was teaching them when it came to what type of training he was giving them, but another one, man. Actually, you've seen these Bayern players getting injured now as well, left and right, because they're not fit enough. That's what I'm saying.
Is that really happening at Bayern? Because it did happen to us. We went through two injury crises, essentially.
Shit.
Yeah, Musiala's out injured because Delect is out injured, if I'm not mistaken. Who else is out injured? I think Gnabry as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Gnabry is out injured, yeah. I know that.
So they're losing. So listen, man, I'm noticing a little cheeky pattern, you know what I mean? From what was happening at Chelsea to what's happening now at Bayern, you know what I'm saying? There's a little cheeky, something's occurring there, but, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, where do you guys think that Chalobah will go?
Probably a Premier League team, like a mid-table to like upper half.
I'm telling you, he's going. If he's smart, you would actually go to Bayern, man. I honestly believe, he could be a star.
Yeah, but Bayern don't want him anymore.
I don't know if he would.
No, you just didn't see. I actually think he would. Like, look at the competition he's facing. Upamecano, Mr. Bozo himself, FC, right? The other guy that's only got to face is Delict. And Delict, bro, I'll be honest, he doesn't even play. So what? So really, his only competition is Kim Min-jae, and him and Kim Min-jae are probably going to be the partnership. That's what I'm saying to you. If he's really smart, Munich might be the way.
I think he wanted to go to Munich, but I think we ran out of international loans for him.
No,
they wanted
I don't think it was that. They only wanted a loan, I think, or it was like it didn't suit.
We
Chelsea.
wanted a loan, but they wanted they wanted to loan him, but we wanted to sell him.
I can't remember what it was, but basically that one the loan didn't, or that deal didn't suit Chelsea.
I think their hierarchy only wanted a loan. I don't think they were convinced enough to. The hierarchy weren't convinced to buy him permanently.
Mm-hmm. But we wanted to sell him because I think we wanted to save that loan for another youth, which
we just wanted the instant profit.
Yeah, we wanted it for Moreira. Cool.
Yeah, essentially.
That loan vexed me on so many levels. Like I don't know why that loan just vexes me on so many levels.
I understand. But yeah, like, what about you, Oliver? Where do you think Chalobah goes?
I mean, the Bayern one was always a very weird one for me because I remember when Tuchel was at Chelsea, Tuchel actually dropped Chalobah when he was playing well, when he brought Christensen into the team when he already had half a foot out of the club, and that was a really weird one. So, and I remember that summer, with the transition summer, there were rumours he was going to leave because Tuchel wasn't like giving him good messages about like what game time. So, this is it'd be quite a weird one for Bayern, but that's gone cold. So, yeah, probably a mid-table to lower Premier League team. I don't know. I mean, I wish him all the best, and he's certainly a good enough player to do better than being a sixth choice option at Chelsea. So, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, we're fine with who we've got, so I'm not really too bothered at the end of the day.
Who's towards the top of the Premier League at the moment? Like,
Ahmed, what about you? Where do you think you can see Chalobah going, man? Well, you said Bayern.
I honestly, couldn't care where he goes. I just want him out of my club. You know what I'm saying? Let him go whatever he wants to. But on a serious note, I said obviously Bayern would be a good option for him. I don't really feel like Dortmund. He would get a spot at Dortmund because who's he facing? Sula and and Hummels, man. ACL is Hummels.
Schlotterbeck there as well.
Hummels is still there. Jesus Christ.
Well, he plays on the left side, so it's kind of just.
So it would just be Chalobah and Schlotterbeck or Chalobah or Hummels. Like he could actually get into that team as well, if we're being honest. So I honestly think a team abroad might do him well. But if I'm him and he wants to win like a nice little Bundesliga, get himself another little trophy alongside Harry Kane, I mean, let's go to Germany. Let's go to Munich, bro. Honestly, that's the better option. Yeah, you might
nice City as well.
City, I think he'll get a slight pay bump too. I would say compared to probably what he's earning at Chelsea right now. And hey, it'll be a good deal for him too. And it'll be with his old manager who he knows how he likes to play as well. So hey ho, man.
I could see him going to Italy, to be honest. There's something about it. I don't know. I can see him going to Italy.
Would he go to
AC Milan?
Italy wouldn't be bad unless he doesn't fancy getting racially abused every game.
Yeah, man, that's literally, unless you're not at Roma or Milan.
Allegedly.
No. Literally, if you're not in Roma or Milan, anywhere else,
I'm just saying Milan. I think Milan would want to.
Listen, I said that again. Anywhere like just Roma or Milan, anywhere else. The R word, the N word is getting thrown at you like it's, you know what I mean, like it's a casual. Like it was. You're right, mate. You know what I mean? That's the N word.
Yeah, Yeah.
So,
To be fair, like there's actually he's one of those players I feel like could play in quite a few leagues. Like he played in the French league previously on loan, so I feel like he could play there.
He's a good player. That's the point, really.
I think he could apart from maybe Spain, just because it's kind of a bit more tactical than in other leagues. Outside of Spain, I think he could play in any other top league, like top European league. But
yeah. We'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye on
Chalobah. People just assume, people forget that he was a quality player, under Tuchel that first season he came in.
Yeah, he's good. It's just like we've said before, even with Madueke and all that. I feel like the bar has been set higher now, and he's just, is he better than Disasi? That's the argument now. And Disasi, I mean, we'll see. Over time, we still got Badiashile in front of him. He's got Silva in front of him. He's got Colwell potentially if he plays center back role in front of him. It's just he's just fallen victim to the circumstances of us getting better CBs. It's not to say he's bad, but okay. Another story that I wanted to bring up, and this one actually kind of took me by surprise. I don't know how I feel about it. I like it, but at the same time, I still don't know how I feel about it because it seems excessive.
You like a lot of stuff, man. So what is it, man? What is it? Where did this news come from?
Yeah, I'll say
Simon Phillips. Simon Phillips. So Simon Phillips supports.
An obsession, I said this before, man. We have an obsession right now.
I listen. I don't know because I'm pretty content with a winger situation. We have one that's not even playing, but apparently we're linked with Michael Olise still. So just quickly reading this article that Simon Phillips wrote. Chelsea looked to try and sign Michael Olise from Crystal Palace in the last transfer window, but the move was scuppered by his club. Olise, I am told, was keen on the move to Chelsea and even have a positive conversation with our clubs through his agent. This was even reliable reports that Olise chose Chelsea over Man City, and the deal was happening. Palace then moved to do all they can to secure him and offered a new contract, which Olise signed and stayed at the club. The whole deal was very confusing and still is, because Chelsea actually activated a release clause then, but even still the deal did not go through, and somehow Palace convinced him to sign an extension. He signed a new 4-year contract with Palace in the summer, and although not public and under wraps, it is believed there is a release clause in his new contract still, but the fee is also unknown. So apparently we're not giving up on this player.
What's the point?
Yeah, I don't know, because we have Madueke just sitting on the bench, ready to be used. And I'm not saying he's better than Olise, but this seems excessive.
Listen, man, we have a addiction right now. You know what I mean? We have a. I was gonna say something.
We might fully have just an addiction to buying players now.
No, not players. We have an addiction to young players right now. You know what I mean? Particularly wingers for some reason.
Hey.
I was going to say FC.
Scary stuff, man.
I have to chill out. But,
Actually, good point by Curry Pirate here. Also, Angelo.
Yeah, legit. That's
what are you doing?
Man.
Do you know what? No, this is the same as that. This is the same as that news about that Brazilian Gabriel Moscardo, I think his name is, that came out when I had the same reaction of we have, I don't know. We're buying all these players to do what? What's the end goal here? Because, if I'm the club now, I'm keeping Madueke till the summer and then reassessing Angelo. Because, hopefully next season, you'd hope that Angelo has developed enough at Strasbourg where next season he's the backup right winger. Mm-hmm. So, and even if he hasn't, let's say he doesn't develop and he needs another loan, well, then you just keep Madueke then, and he's the backup.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
Where's the need to spend more money? Because I guarantee as well that release clause is more than it was in the summer.
Yeah, I think it's doubled, if I remember correctly.
Oh, cool. It's doubled.
Yeah.
His release clause doubled or near doubled.
So his release clause in the summer was 35 million. So it nearly doubled. So it's going to cost you close to 70. Cool. Why?
Bro, I'm telling you, bro.
Where does he play?
I've said this. Scott, I've got the idea. I'm telling you right now, in January, Ahmed Abdi, you know what I mean? Cristobal right here. I'm telling you right now, Noni Madueke is getting sold in January. I don't know what's going on in my mind. He's sold mine in January. Trust me.
If he gets sold, I'm not annoyed if he gets sold, by the way. If
I
he
know.
gets sold,
That's what I think's happening.
but if he gets sold, and the thought is, okay, he's going to get sold for Angelo come the summer, I have no issues with that. If he's getting sold for us to go and buy Olise for 70 mil, I'm like, what's the fucking point?
The other thing that Oliver brought up before we started the show was I don't think he's even fit still.
No, he's injured.
Bro, he's
still injured.
He's not even played yet. He was meant to come back in October. Early October. He's not even played.
But like,
yeah, so I'm just so confused on this one.
This, by the way, going back to the conversation we had at the start about the owners and like the stability and whatnot, this is an argument I can see against that, where it's like, they're like, where's the stability? Where's the understanding? Where's the plan? Where's the thinking from point A to point like D, and you know what steps B and C are? It's not we know what we're starting, we know where the end goal is, and just we're going every which way but loose in the middle. That doesn't work. That never works at a club. That never works in a business. Never mind a football club.
Mm-hmm. It's just weird to me. It doesn't make any sense as to why we would. Listen, don't get me wrong. I do like Olise. I think he's a fantastic player. I think all of us agree he's a good player. But like, we don't need that position right now. We need a striker. We need a left back potentially. We need another goalkeeper, a world class one. So it's just.
What was it? The time to sign Olise was to sign Olise was the summer. That's now past.
Yeah.
That was the time to sign him. We didn't call you. Move on.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, we have an addiction. I don't know if who it is. Is it with Stanley or is it the other guy whose name I always forget?
Stanley or Lawrence Stewart.
I don't know if it's Stanley. Is it Stewart? Is it what's his name? The bald guy that's also available. Whose name?
Joe Shields.
Joe Shields. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's any of those guys.
Yeah, name the right guy, the right bald
Joe
guy.
Shields, Stewart, with Stanley. I don't know if all of those guys. They're having a slight addiction to the midfielders, to the wingers. I don't know what's going on because I don't know if you guys know Moscato. Apparently, that deal was pretty much done. Apparently, and that's
why? What's the point?
That's what I'm saying. So we get another in. We now got this guy coming in. It's like, what is going on, man?
Don't forget, we also got that Matos guy, by the way, who's a midfielder who's we signed on a free. And I understand he's probably not going to be someone we look to keep long term, but he's in the team and is playing. He's played a game this season. Like, bro, what? Where's the planning, bro? Like, where's the
team's really disorganized? I'm not going to deny that at all. It's, I don't know. This is really weird.
Like, this is where I don't understand, and this is where it doesn't make sense with like. Just like you should already know, like if I'm the club and I'm like the directors and I'm the people that are in charge of transfers, right? I already know what's happening in the summer with certain man. Like I'm keeping an eye on Angelo, I'm keeping an eye on Paez. Doesn't really matter because he's 15 or 16, whatever it is. But I'm keeping an eye on him. I'm depending on what you do with Santos, I'm keeping an eye on him. I'm keeping an eye on like Slonina. I'm keeping an eye on all these guys, and I'm assessing come the summer because I'm like, cool. A lot of these are like hypotheticals and like if buts and maybes, but it's like cool. If Slonina develops this season, then he's probably going out on another loan, but you can maybe look to loan it to maybe a Premier League team or a Championship team. And it's like if Humphreys does well enough in this season, is he someone that can come in to be like 5th choice, 6th choice centre back next season for the club potentially? And like is Cassidy, is he good enough to maybe contribute, or does he need a Premier League loan? Santos, if he performs well for the next 6 months, could that be a person, if we are going to sell Gallagher or we have a spot open, say Leslie needs a loan, can Santos fill that? Angelo, what's going on with it? Has he developed enough where he can come in and contribute to the team, not be a starter but contribute? That should be the questions, and instead it's who are we signing to fill that spot? It's like, no, you've already signed that dude, he's just not at the club right now. And even if he is at the club, and the thing is, he might be at the club. It's just he's one of the 12 people you've currently got in the like squad at the moment to play that position. It's
bro,
like
that's what's confusing me, bro. I'm not sure what's going on.
I said this before on a stream. I wanted this, but we've gone too far. Where it's like I wanted the signings like this, like it made
just
sense.
Save your money because we're going to need all the money we can get for us.
We're going too far, and it's like. It's just like this is the aspect of transfers. There's so many things about the transfers I liked. This it's been poor. It looks like there's no plans the way we do transfers. Like in terms of not profiles and not age, but in terms of like the amount of players we get. looks like we're just going, oh, this player looks good, we'll get him, and this player, and this player. We'll work out how we fit 20. We'll work out how we fit 40 man into a 25 man squad come the start of the season. But we just like these players, so.
I mean, on the topic of transfers and youth players in the team, I'm gonna bring this one up too because there were some new comments released of Ian Maatsen and his future at Chelsea, and kind of wanted to get our 2 cents on this one. Simon Phillips, Ian Maatsen.
I don't know who he is.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Ian Maatsen on his future. I have to keep all options open. Maybe I'll have to make a difficult decision later on, but then Chelsea will also let me know. Vincent Kompany told me he would keep an eye on me. We still have contact from time to time. I mean, this tells me that Burnley will come back for him, and if they do, Ian Maatsen, just take the damn move. You should have taken it the first time it was offered to you.
But the thing is, he's gonna get relegated if he goes to Burnley.
I don't think that's an
Okay,
issue.
playtime.
Like, and I think the thing is, like, he can maybe go elsewhere. I think he's probably good enough to be a Premier League player, probably at like a lower half of the team, like a Forest, maybe a Bournemouth, etc. And he's getting sold. Also, by the way, just looking at the squad, just on this whole transfer thing. So Maatsen's getting sold. How many of our squad do you think are getting sold? Let's say between now and summer, or including the next two windows. And I'm not
How many
including.
do I think are getting sold?
Yeah, and I'm not including loan signings. I'm talking about like actual people in our squad. How many think you are getting sold or are leaving the club?
I'm gonna throw 5 out there. I feel like 5 players are gonna get sold
Who?
between now and the summer.
In the next 2 windows.
In the next 2 windows, yeah. 5 players getting sold. Chalobah.
Fair.
Jesus Christ.
Maatsen.
Maatsen.
I'll give you that
Thank
one
you.
too.
So sorry.
For Broja,
Maatsen.
maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could see Broja potentially being another player sold. As much as I disagree with that, we'll see at the end of the season. Lukaku.
I'm not including loanees. I'm including people that are in the squad right now.
Okay. Damn, this is tough.
That's 3 players. There's a reason I'm doing this, by the way. There's a point to all of this, to people in the chat and to the panel. Who?
That'd be such a weird Uguchuku. We're
going to sell him a year after buying him, after not playing him.
We've done it. I mean, we did it with Koulibaly. So
but Koulibaly was actively terrible. Uguchuku's not played.
Uguchuku's not fit.
Uguchuku, man.
We're in a weird situation because this is the only thing. Like Scott, the only reason I say
I'll give you Madueke as well. So that's 4 players, right? The reason I'm saying this. Do you know how many people in our squad, in our actual squad, we have this season?
I think we have like over 30, don't we?
30 players.
30, okay.
Well, 29, one is Sar. I'm ignoring him. Actually, no, I will say 30 because it doesn't have on here like Matos, who is actually in and around the squad. So we lose those 4, that's 26. So we already have enough for an extra person and a Premier League squad. So like this is where it goes. This goes back to what I was saying as well. Even if we get into Europe, who will we bring it? What spots are we taking? Who's coming into the team? Where's the forethinking of so let's say we loan out Uguchuku. So who's coming in to replace that spot? Or are we just not replacing that spot? Is it Moscardo, a guy that's come from Brazil and is in basically the same position Santos was?
I would hope Santos would be that guy.
But he's not played.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like the reason I said Uguchuku too is because like the only thing that makes sense to me is that like in the summer we go like, okay, maybe we bought a little too many, let's sell again, kind of like how we did for a lot of these players.
We already know as well. We already know that we're getting a new. Well, we don't know, but it's been heavily reported by reliable sources. We're looking for a centre back, so that's Chalobah's position, like taken. And even if we sell another centre back like Silva leaves or Fofana leaves, we probably won't replace them. And if we do, it could be Humphreys, because that's their position. Like it just feels like we're not.
For me is that I don't think Uguchuku will be sold actually, because compared to the price we bought him, we brought him for heavy amount and the amount of time that he's actually played. I don't.
Bro, he's not getting sold. We signed him on a 7+1 year contract.
And I think we
He's
put it
not
for,
Oh
getting
Jesus
sold.
Christ! Yeah, that's
we
even
sold him
more
for
reason
24.
not to
Did you not
sell
start
him, yeah.
signing for 24 million or 20 million?
It was 20 something. I don't know exactly. It was 20 something.
But we brought him for big money, so clearly he's not one where you're thinking in a year or two you're selling him for like for a profit at the very least. So
It just doesn't like. The only way this is gonna make sense is
that's
waiting.
Fofana as well.
Yeah, but he's
Fofana
on loan.
might-
Again, I'm not including loan.
He's
people,
including
'cause, like,
players in the squad currently.
I'm including people in the squad because, like, talking about the loan,
Devin
players, there are at
Washington.
least-
Well,
there's a few guys on loan that could potentially come back into the squad next season. This is what I'm saying. Like, so we're going to end up in a position where we were under Potter, where he was complaining about the fact we had 35 men in the squad.
Yeah.
And we were complaining about we had 35 men in the squad. There's a good chance come the end of the summer, we're in the same position. And this is what I'm saying.
But-
It's because it looks like there's no thinking with these transfers. We're just signing people because they look nice.
I'm sure there is a plan, but we just can't make sense of it because we just don't know what the fuck the plan is. And
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
I don't think the plan is going to be a good one. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a good one.
it's just because I think at the moment it's because it is all confusing because there's no,
Yeah.
there doesn't seem to
Transparency.
be an end goal. Like,
Mm-hmm.
for example, like the Ugachukwu signing, we don't know what the end goal of that is. Like,
Yeah.
like we don't know because initially when we bought him, it was to loan him out. He ended up staying because he impressed in training. He's had some game time,
Mm-hmm.
has looked decent, but like we've just talked about, he might get sold, or it suggested that might happen. He probably won't, but like I don't know what I don't know what the plan is with him. Same way we bought Santos to be what Ugachukwu is now, and he's now on loan not playing, and we don't know what the like thing is for him. And I think that's the thing is we don't. All of these players, like we could literally in a year's time be talking about Moscardo. We bought him. He's on loan to some like team in the Prem, not playing. It was like, cool. We're now looking at the next dude. We're looking at Andre, that guy from Fluminense from Brazil, and it's like, cool. We're back here again.
Mm-hmm. But I think the difference is going to be, and I think if I can make sense of this is the only thing I can think of. I think the board is still operating in the mindset that next transfer window, we're not going to have all this deadwood to get rid of that have hogged up all our loans, that are hogged up all the fees and all the things that we needed in order for this to go ideally. Because let's have it right. I mean,
let's have it right.
Our summer transfers didn't go ideally as planned. We were supposed to have sold Romelu Lukaku. We were supposed to sell Chalobah. We were supposed to sell Kepa. It seems that was the plan, and they had high hopes for that. Just really quick, Scott. And that if those had gone through, then, I mean, I still think some of the loans wouldn't have made sense, but we would have had more players go off on loans that we wanted to go off on loans. We're talking like maybe Ugachukwu, David Washington. You know, I think we ended up getting stuck with it. So I feel like we're progressing towards having a more well-oiled machine when it comes to loaning out players and domestic loans as well. But that's the only thing I can think of that's the plan and why we're still operating this way.
I disagree though about the outgoings though, because like Woodshed has said it right. That was a bit beyond anyone ever expected. Like, go through the players that we got rid of.
I think it was a little realistic for sure.
Of the players we got rid of, so we got rid of, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 first team players.
Christ.
Genuinely speaking, I'm going through the list now, right?
That's a lot.
I would say that I expected to get rid of half of those. Of the ones we got rid of.
Permanently get rid of, not
permanently get rid of. Like 5 of those were free transfers, but even those, like, I don't think anyone expected Aspi to go this summer. I think we expected him to stay till his contract was finished. I don't think anyone expected who went. I don't think anyone expected Aubameyang to leave. Actually, maybe not. I don't know if people expected him to go anywhere. No one expected. We can say what about Kepa. No one expected Kepa to leave at all, whether that be permanently or loan. No one expected. Like, I don't know if actually anyone expected Lukaku to leave necessarily in general. They would talk, oh, we may have to keep him in the squad because we're not going to be able to get him sent anywhere, and we ended up loaning him out
for a little bit.
Even at the start of the summer, like I was on the bandwagon of we can find a a club for him. But there were people being like, "Oh, we won't be able to find a club. Like he may have to stay and whatnot." Like no one expects us to get rid of Havertz or Mount. No one expected us to get rid of Pulisic. To be honest, like I didn't. I thought he'd end up staying. Like Mendy, I'll be real. I did not expect us to get rid of Koulibaly. I thought he'd stay as well.
Oh, yeah, I thought Koulibaly would get at least a second season.
We say about Ziyech. I know he's on loan. We nearly did get rid of him permanently. Like if it wasn't for a failed medical, he would be gone. So like that's the thing, and I think, I just think with the transfers, it's just a planning because, like you say about the Deadwood as well. We've literally just named another 4 players that there's a chance we have to get rid of because they're not playing or they're not part of the squad. And all but hang on, the 4 players we named, of the 4 players we've named, of the 4 players we named, only one of those I'd say has been a consistent performer. One barely played last season, and then got injured. And the other 2 are completely new. Like one's a new signing from last season, and one is completely new to the team, in Madueke and Maatsen, respectively. It's like, and between now and the end of the season, there may be more. Like there's a couple of players you could argue either way might go, like Gallagher maybe. So that's like then 5, Chukwuemeka maybe. And so like, yeah, I think with the transfers is just weird because like I've said this before. When it comes to the actual players themselves, the talent ID has been basically spot on. Like I can't argue with
these are good players we're linked with,
but there seems to be no planning with how we're making it. It just looks like we're just buying players because they look good. Like this is a good player, we'll buy him. No thought of how's he gonna fit with what we've got. Number one, also how is he gonna fit with who else we've got that's in his age bracket? Like we've got about, if we buy Moscardo, we've got about 4 or 5 midfielders that are all in the same age bracket that are meant to play together. That's not including the likes of like Gallagher, Enzo, and Caicedo. I'm talking about you've got Lavi, you've got Ugachukwu, you've got Moscardo, you've got Caicedo. You can even throw in maybe 1 or 2 others if you want to. Like, how are all of these players fitting together? Like, how is this happening?
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping that as we have more time with this board, as they have less excuses with as we get rid of more and more Deadwood, because we still have some returning. We don't know what's going to happen with Ziyech, if that's going to actually go through. You can make the same argument also for Hall. It's an obligation to buy if they hit certain criteria. You know,
I'm fairly sure Hall is just a straight obligation. Ziyech is an obligation if they hit certain metrics.
Certain like amount, if he can stay fit for X amount of games, I think.
Yeah, it's something. It's something to. So I can't remember what exactly, but
yeah, there's certain things that I hope that if goes well and we get rid of more Deadwood, then maybe this starts to make more sense, because it's just like you're saying, it does seem like we're just buying players just to have, because like, oh, this is a good player. We don't want anyone else to have it. We're just gonna get it. Like, and don't get me wrong, I do like the players that we're linked with. Like, I like Olise, but it seems a little excess right now. Like, we don't need an Olise right now. There's only 3 positions we need: left back, goalkeeper, and striker. Right now, we seem pretty good in every other position. So it just doesn't make sense to me for the team going forward right now. On the topic of selling players, there is a link as well currently with Broja. So let's just go over this and see what this is about. According to Team Talk, which I don't know how reliable they are, don't think they're like a tier 1 or tier 2, West Ham United could move for Chelsea striker Malouda Broja in January to ease their attacking woes. I believe Antonio has been out. Who else do they have? Say that again?
Ligament injury. They don't have any other striker.
Yeah, they've been playing Bowen as almost like a striker. And
yeah, they were playing Souček they were playing Souček as a number 10.
Yeah, they were playing Souček as a 10 at one point, which is
again. Did they sell Ings?
Oh no, he must be injured as well.
All right.
I forgot about him. But to be fair, that's the second time in about 2 days I've forgotten about him. Me and my manager from work were talking about football players, and he like they were playing in the Prem, and he named Ings, and I was like, wait, he's still at West Ham, isn't he? I completely forgot about him. I completely forgot Ings still played football.
And Skamaka's out on loan, right?
No, I think it's a permanent.
Okay.
Strikers, yeah, Danny Ings is here, and Bowen is considered. Has Ben Rama even been playing? I don't even know. I don't think Mubama has been fit either. Yeah, they could use a striker. I just don't know if I want to get rid of Broja, to be honest. Not seen enough of him to say, oh, he's not good enough.
I think it depends what we do in January, really. If we get a starter, then he's down to third choice, and then it's probably for the best.
Also,
he's also. I mean, it does make
Scamacca,
sense with
by
the trend of. Before you go on Scamacca, Scott, it does make sense with the trend of pure profit sells.
Yeah. On Scamacca, by the way, he's already scored 5 goals in 9 games for Atalanta, which is 2 more than he ever did for West Ham.
Good for him.
I'm convinced that move was the wrong. Like, I'm convinced he's not a bad player. That was the wrong system.
No, I like him. He's good.
Oh yeah, people hyped him up last season. I remember that actually.
I wanted him at the club at Chelsea at one point.
Remember that play?
I was going to say something else. Oh yeah, they were playing Souček as a number 10 against Forest because they had Paqueta on the left, they had Kudus on the right, Bowen up top, and Souček as the 10. And I was like, what am I watching?
Yeah, it's. I never expected to see Souček in that position, but I mean, West Ham compared to last season have been doing a little better. Where are they on the table? Actually, now that I
think they're bottom half.
Are they? Oh, they're 9th. They're 1 place ahead of us. So they've improved since last season. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the Broja situation. I
prefer him to stay.
Yeah,
because I think
want to see him play
there. But like, it's going to be one. It's probably going to end up being one of those ones similarly to Hall and similarly to others. Like, even though I want them to stay, we probably sell them, and it doesn't hurt us necessarily. But it's just kind of an annoying thing. Like, it will hurt at the time, but like we'll probably forget about it, especially if we sign a striker that ends up being good.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. If we get an Osimhen in the summer or Ivan Toney, then this doesn't bother me as much. And I'll also put this other caveat on there too. If Jackson picks up, if Jackson, well, I mean, not to say, you guys know how I feel about Jackson. If Jackson continues this form, continues scoring goals, then again, I'm not too worried about this. Armando, I'm sure, has to show through training and through his cameos that he is worthy of being in his squad. I need to see him score more goals when he is involved in the squad. To be fair, you could argue maybe he could have scored against Man City if he didn't get fouled. Maybe. I don't know. He looked decent when he made his cameo, but I just haven't seen enough.
Yeah, I was happy with him against City.
Yeah, I was too. So, I mean, I want to see him play more. He is one of those players that I do have high hopes for. So, hopefully this is just a rumor and we get to see him play more and he actually turns up. If he doesn't turn up, then I'm not going to be. But yeah, let's go on to the other topic. We're closing in on the end of the show, ladies and gents. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to smash up the like button and big up the panel for doing this. Again, one of the shows where I didn't expect much to come out of it, but we ended up making it 3 hours again. So big up to you guys. But Lukaku apparently has a release clause in his contract. Well, let's read about it. Chelsea hope to finally offload Romelu Lukaku next summer, with Roma keen to make his loan move permanent. Despite his form, Chelsea remained keen to sell Lukaku, according to Nazar Cancella. And his form, he's been pretty decent for Roma. I think he has 9 goals for Roma so far. I could be wrong about that, but I'll look it up in a minute. And then Fabrizio Romano here reporting, Romelu Lukaku has something like a release clause, but not a proper release clause. There's a gentleman's agreement between the players' agents and Chelsea. There's a possibility for him to leave for 40 million euros, and that's not just for Roma, that's for any club. I'm thinking this is a gentleman's agreement that Chelsea would gladly oblige to. Don't think there's going to be any issues with keeping their end of the agreement. I think Chelsea have expressed very, very vigorously that they want to offload.
Get rid of him.
Yes, please. For 40 million euros, I think that's doable, especially if he's. Let me look up his stats real quick. What has he been doing over at Roma? Euro qualifiers, 14 goals in 8 matches. Oh wait, this is Euro qualifiers. Never mind.
I was going to say this is the same Euro qualifiers. He scored goals and a half.
Oh, I watched that. He absolutely bullied them guys. But, that's what he does. He's a flat track bully. You all know this.
Big up the Azerbaijan.
So in 14 games this season, he has 9 goals. Yes, 4 games in the Europa League, 10 in the Serie A. So he's been pretty good for them, which is, that's good. That means more incentive to buy him.
Hang on, how many did you say? 9 goals in 14 games.
Yes.
Jesus.
9 goals, 14 games.
I don't know if I could be wrong. I haven't looked up his stats recently, but I'm pretty sure he has treble the amount of goals as Vlahovic this season.
Vlahovic's goals. Let's see. Yeah, Vlahovic hasn't been.
I think
he started off hot, but
Vlahovic has been injured.
But I think he got injured again. Vlahovic, 10 goals or 10 goals. Wow, 10 games, 4 goals.
Oh, so double the amount of goals.
Look up current season. Oh no, he's not injured.
He did have an injury. I think he's injured now.
He did. He had back injury that he was out for 2 games pretty much, but he came back. Yeah, no one's talking that highly about Vlahovic. Actually, Vlahovic hasn't even been playing that many minutes, according to the stats here. Played 82 minutes against.
After he scored those goals, everyone was talking about him. Oh, what we should have got this, that, and the other. And then he got his injury. He hasn't done anything since. And
yeah, his first 4 games scored 4 goals, which is impressive, and an assist. But then got the back injury. Played 34 minutes against Milan, 82 against Hellas Verona, and only 22 and 24 in the next 2 games after that, which are Fiorentina. So I guess he's out of favor too, apparently, or at least in the meantime. So, yeah, look, Romelu Lukaku's doing decently. We want him to do well because we want him to go. So hopefully, if we can let him go to Roma for 40 million euros, I know Jose's not likely to stay, and I hope because that doesn't influence his decision if Jose were to leave. So I hope he does go. That's one less player we have to worry about.
I don't know that it would influence his decision though, because where does he go next? Like realistically, he doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia. Where does he go next?
Romelu Lukaku surprises all of us.
No, I know, but when do we actually start coming to an end of this? Where it's like, okay, you're going to start running out of clubs now. Like really?
Already has run out of clubs, realistically.
That's what I'm trying to say, because he's blackballed himself from Saudi Arabia. He doesn't even want to go there himself.
I wouldn't be surprised if he still has ambitions to try to get into Real Madrid.
Huh?
Keep dreaming.
If he scores highly, we're hearing links about Real Madrid with Timo.
And you think if they get,
he has a better chance of playing for the Real Madrid basketball team than he does the football team.
Well, hang on, Marshall. You really think if they get Xabi Alonso or De Zerbi, you really think they're going to take him and his inability to press?
I don't know.
How about
anything is possible with this guy.
Also, they're going to go from being linked with Osimhen and Mbappe to Lukaku and Werner. That's their level.
Put it that way.
Oof.
Yeah, when you put it that way. But yeah, who knows? Maybe one of the reasons he went to Roma was for the manager. If Mourinho is going to Saudi Arabia, he'll go with Jose Madrid. Stop joking. Yeah. Listen, Madrid need a striker. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, they do. That doesn't mean they get linked with every terrible striker under the sun, man.
I don't know, man. It depends on how the season ends too. You never know. If Lukaku manages to turn it around and actually have a season like he did when we got him.
Hell, never going to Real Madrid ever in his life.
Hey, I'm just saying, just an idea. There are homes for him. Maybe not Real Madrid, but hopefully he stays at Roma. We'll see what happens. And speaking of players in Italy, right? Let's talk about the last topic we have here. Big up to everyone. Big shout outs to all of you guys that have stayed. Kvaratskhelia being scouted. I shouldn't be surprised. I am kind of happy this is more official now. But okay, transfer 90 minutes. Transfer news live here tweeting Chelsea, Manchester City, Man United, and Newcastle United all sent representatives to watch Georgia winger Kvaratskhelia Kvaratskhelia against Spain on Sunday. Probably butchered that name. Sorry.
No, you actually said it quite well, to be fair.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Negotiations between Kvaratskhelia and Napoli over a contract extension will take place when the situation internally at the club is resolved, according to Core Sport. Moving on, ESPN reporting a move for Kvaratskhelia would be in line with Chelsea's strategy of pursuing young players with big potential. And then last tweet I have here was from Fraser Fletcher. Chelsea have been tracking Kvaratskhelia for a while, normal scouting of a top talent, but he is someone they like. I mean, I like him more than Osimhen. It's just scouting though. I don't know. Like, can this happen? Maybe, but him and Osimhen, I feel like that's a bit of a stretch. I do like the player, but again, we go back to the discussion we had not even 20 minutes ago about why it seems excessive now at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to agree because, like, I remember the reasoning they said, they didn't get Leao. They didn't get Leao because they wanted to get Mudryk. So how is Mudryk factoring into this, or is he at all? Like, you're applying one condition for Leao and another one for Kvaratskhelia, so it doesn't really make much sense. You're going to have Sterling on the left and Mudryk and Kvaratskhelia. That's way too overcrowded.
Yeah, and Sterling hasn't been too bad. Honestly, I think Sterling has been impressive, and we have to keep into account that Sterling is also entering his prime, technically. So,
also, Marshall, I know I made the point to you backstage before we started. Could they not have also been there scouting Badiashile, the goalkeeper?
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah, he's Georgian as well.
You need a goalkeeper. I know you like this player.
Oh, I really like this player, but again, I agree. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me considering like the problem with the winger situation. I feel like that the ownership group has put themselves in is like, you kind of have to make it work with Mudryk, because if you don't, like, if the answer is just okay, we're going to go and buy, Kvaratskhelia instead, what was the point of Mudryk? Like, legit, what was the point? Like, you don't spend the kind of money you did on Mudryk just to, after a season, just give up on everything and like just say, no, this isn't working. That doesn't make sense. Like, you don't just give up.
I do want the player though, but
I agree.
At the cost of someone leaving.
I'd 100% take it. Don't take it as I wouldn't take it. Like, I'd love Kvaratskhelia, and he's an upgrade on what we have, like, as a player. It's just, again, it's just the planning thing of like, what was the point of Mudryk then? Like, what was the point?
Yeah, I would.
Like, you basically put all your eggs in the Mudryk thing. Like, he has to work basically. Like, yeah, I don't want to be talking about other left wingers, like signing other wingers, because the whole point of getting Pochettino, the whole point of getting Mudryk as the player, for paying the money you did, for putting those clauses in, for all of that, like, that you did, is for him to be that guy. He's going to be the next superstar, the next world-class winger. Like, he's meant to get to that levels that Leao has got to, and Kvaratskhelia is at, and things like that.
I mean, I am not necessarily opposed to this. Like, I do like Mudryk, but I also don't see us getting a profit on Mudryk just yet.
Oh, we're not. But I also agree with this. Like, I would as well, just on like just a comparing player sort of thing. Like, I would cut my losses for Mudryk for Kvaratskhelia, but then that transfer's a complete and utter mitigated failure. Like, it's up there as one of the worst transfers we've done.
We'd be taking a loss if we did it in January or the summer.
That would go up there. That would go up there as one of like the top 5 worst transfers we've ever done if we were to cut our losses on him now.
I mean, I feel like we can get a decent transfer fee for him. It wouldn't be as bad of a loss like Lukaku.
What's the lowest? What's the lowest you'd say?
For Mudryk, the lowest I'd take is probably 60.
There's
Wait,
no.
wait. The lowest you take or the lowest you think?
The lowest I would take, and also the lowest I would think they would go.
You're
for.
telling me
No.
we're basically breaking even on Madrid, is what you're telling me.
Oh, I was thinking
That would be a
Madrid, I
break
was
even
thinking of
because
90.
all those other ones are add-ons, aren't they? So.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
bought
yeah.
him like 2 mil, or like between
Okay.
62 and 66. So you're basically breaking even. There's not a club in world football playing at 60 mil for Madrid right now. There's probably not a club in world football playing more than like 40 maybe, and that's a maybe.
Mm. Yeah, the reason I say that though, it's because like I know there's a talent there. Don't get me wrong. I know Mudryk is a good player. He just needs more time to develop. He just hasn't had time to develop enough to be sold for a decent price, or at least enough to make profit.
But Marshall was going to be 23 in January.
I mean,
Like, that's the thing. Like,
that,
he needs
really?
time to develop, but
Mhm.
another club's not going to look at that because he doesn't have time himself. He's not far off not being a young player anymore.
I mean, I get that, but I also think that Mudryk is a special case in this situation. When you look at his career and how it's played out as a result of like what's happening in Ukraine and all that. So I feel like clubs would be understanding. I mean, listen, we're pretty good at selling players. I would say that. So I don't know. It just seems like a weird one, like to me. Like, why would you? I don't know.
And by the way, Impartial Blue, if that's true, by the way, that last comment, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying if that's true, the eyes I have on this board, like the question marks around the board go up. That's someone you pushed heavily for because it was going to fall through. Not even because it was going to fall through, just you sent, like, both directors, both owners went to Ukraine. Am I wrong? I think or at least one did. I think Bowley did. I can't remember.
No, I think
Bali.
the
Bali and
representatives
someone
and
else.
I think they all met in Poland.
Yeah, Poland. Yeah. But on the other hand, too, it's weird because I feel like this signing was partially. This was in that transition period we were getting when Stanley and Bowley was still. It seemed like at the time Bowley was just hijacking deals, and this was an Arsenal deal before it was a Chelsea one. As far
There
as
was there would have been a bit of involvement from Vivell as well, right?
That's fine, Marshall. But again, like all of this is just question marks on the ownership. Like, if all that what you've done a £60 million or 60 million euro, whatever it was, deal to hijack a player for what pride? Like again, like as I said, there is no way that you can sign another player and it looks good for left wing unless you're signing unless the plan is to get rid of Sterling, but he's your best player at the moment, arguably. So like.
Yeah, it's just all very strange.
And again, as I said, this is nothing against the players we're looking at, like Kvaratskhelia or anything, like a quality player, but it just makes no sense.
Yeah, again, like we go back to what I was saying before. Maybe this fleshes out as we give the board more time and see what happens in the summer. But as of right now, because we just don't know what the hell their plan is, none of this really makes sense. None of these links make sense. The Olise link doesn't make sense. The Kvaratskhelia link doesn't make sense. The Gabriel Mercado link doesn't make sense. Like, it just, a lot of it doesn't make sense. What are you going to say, Oliver?
No, the thing is, like, regardless of, like, I know you said, like, you want to see what the plan is, but, like, for some of these situations, there is just no plan that makes sense. That's the real question mark I have on some of these.
I just think it doesn't make sense now because, like, I do believe in this theory that I just kind of realized in the stream that maybe it's just run as if everything is going to go according to plan and run the operation as if we're going to not have Lukaku in the way, Kepa in the way, and all these other players that took up loans, international loans. That's the only thing I can think of in my head that's like, okay, so we're still operating as if we're going to have these loans in the future.
Well, I'd rather we didn't, because that's how we've ended up with players like David Washington still at the club, and I'm sure there's many other examples. You have to have your priorities. Maximum effort has to go into step one and then step two. And step one here, you got to get rid of those players to free up the loan spots internationally.
Yeah, I agree. But that being said, ladies and gents, that's a show for you. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate Scott, Oliver, Ahmed, Chris for joining us today. Jam-packed show. I'm surprised we made it to 3 hours, but hey, now I should expect it now because we could just talk about anything. But big up to you guys. Big up to everyone in the chat. If you haven't done so already, be sure to smash up the like button as it does help the channel grow with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you also for subscribing. If you have subscribed, we're on our way to 2.3K subscribers. Once we hit that goal, the next goal, 2.4, 2.5, until we get to 3K, which hopefully will be soon. Also, hit the bell notification so you don't miss out when we do go live. Be sure to check out the links in the description down below for the Discord, for my link tree, for Ahmed's YouTube channel, who's also on his way to 1K, the Sarcasm City YouTube channel, which is where we're going to be rating tonight. As usual, you guys already know, much love for Sarcasm City and all those guys. Ahmed's already there as well, so be sure to check out that channel and show them some love as well. Copy and paste that raid message. Let them know where you're coming from. Also, if you haven't done so already, check out the memberships. We have 4 different tiers starting at 99p. And for those people who are subscribed to the proper casual and higher tier, you guys get shout outs at the end of each show, which goes out to OG Turbo Jesus, Dark, Scott, Adrian, Will, A. Solomon, and that's it. Thank you guys so much for your continued support, and thank you to support the other casual members that are in the chat. Hope you guys are enjoying those emojis and you use them when you can. But that being said, we'll be back again for the game on Saturday, 10 o'clock my UK time, 5 o'clock my time. We'll be doing a review of the game. It's finally nice to have Chelsea back. It'll be who'll we be playing again? Newcastle. Yes, I should have known that. Jesus. It's going to be a good game. At least I hope it's going to be a good game. Hopefully we get a result. But that being said, ladies and gents, we'll see you on Saturday after the game. Big up to you. We'll catch you over on Sarcasm City TV for the raid. Have a good night. Stay casual and peace.